Leaf.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Subaru of Gwinnett. You'll love the difference. The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3. Are you dragging a little bit this morning? Is it because you should feel better? You got an extra hour of sleep, but most people are dragging today.
I've already recalibrated. I was good.
And let's go. I like it.
That Sunday morning, I even told the wife, I go, hey, it's 7:30. She's like, I know I got to sleep in. I go, but we just got back an hour. She totally forgot.
That's good. That's good.
I was like, it's early, but not.
It's crazy. I was fine yesterday, but today I feel a little wonky. So I don't know what that's all about. Maybe I just didn't sleep well. I don't know. I felt like I slept fine, but today's been a little wacky. And, when you read the people that keep up with stuff like this, they say it throws off, just your natural rhythm, your body's rhythm. Anytime you spring back or spring forward, fall back, they say ideally you want to stay on standard time, where we are now.
You and I, Jure, those of you out there, we're kind of a little bit of vampires anyway. It's dark when we get up and it's dark when we showed up to work no matter what. It's just a matter of what time the sun comes in the building to me.
That's right.
That's all. It's dark every time. There's not one time I've jumped in my car and went, I don't need my headlights.
Yeah, because good thing they come on naturally. That's you'd be like that clown driving down 400 with
no lights on.
Now all the cars are like, we got to fix this. We got make sure that everything comes on.
I don't know the difference.
Your point is well taken.
Outside of my youngest daughter, last night, I think it was right around 5:50, 6 o'clock. She's like, it's so dark outside. I'm like, well, yeah. Now, not to say anything about sixth grade education, but I'd already changed the clocks in the house. Mm-hmm. There's only like a couple that needed to be changed.
Right.
So she didn't know any different.
Yeah.
And her phone had already changed when she woke up, so she didn't know any different. So she had no idea.
She didn't even realize it.
Never thought about it. That's a thing for adults to know.
Yeah, no kidding. I would like them to just pick one and stick with it, though. Whichever one's fine with me. Just pick one and stick with it. And that way, not even fool with us anymore. But a good weekend, man. We went up to the mountains, and it was gorgeous.
Baby making.
Dude, let me tell you. How you doing?
Baby making retreat.
Yeah, that's right. Just running through the motions, just more practice,
just in case.
Yeah, just
never know.
Yeah, we
want to restart this one while we have a kid in college.
What do you think? This is terrible.
I hate sleep.
Terrible idea. That's right. As I complain about sleep and start to do that. No, but it was so much fun, man. Friday night, just super laid back. We watched the World Series and cooked in the cabin we had rented. Had a great outdoor fireplace. We sat out there more than any... Dude, I would never move from that if I had it at my house.
Be pretty nice.
An outdoor fireplace?
Yeah.
Oh, so awesome. So awesome. So that was pretty much where we vegged out the whole time. Watched college football, watched the World Series, went back and forth, and there was a lot of ball on, man. It was a good weekend.
Where to begin? I can just tell you that if I was trying to create a legend on my street, I think I took a step in the right direction.
Sir, tell me how that went. With the hot dogs and the airline bottles?
So I decided for Halloween that I was going to get out my Traeger tailgater. Thank you, Howard Brothers. I was going to put it on the street. I went and got myself a little fire pit so we could sit there right in the cul-de-sac. And I was going to hand out candy and airline bottles of Fireball and hot dogs. There was a 30-pack of hot dogs, Tug. It lasted 25 minutes.
Goodness.
It went crazy to the point where the next day I had parents saying, hey, thank you for doing the hot dogs. I didn't get a chance to eat. I was starving.
Yeah, right. You're rushing home from work.
I had neighbors when we went to a Georgia-Florida watching party right next to our next door neighbor's house. And they were, hey, I heard you were serving hot dogs.
Yes, I was.
Yes, I was in my hot dog costume. That's a great idea. Then by the time that we got into the second half, as we got into the fourth quarter of that Georgia game with, once again, as the theme, Georgia trailing in the fourth quarter, I started handing out the remaining airline bottles. And
You'll need this. Your nerves are going to need this.
By the time I left that party, Tug, the only thing I was missing was like, huzzah! Thank you, Medina! Huzzah!
That's right.
So, yeah, I feel like did it right.
You
and then
won Halloween and then
I think
won the
I won
weekend.
Halloween. And then the problem was, too, and I'm sure you experienced this to a certain extent, by the time you get around to Game 7, you decide, I'm parking my butt on Saturday.
Yep.
I want to watch this thing.
Yep.
And it goes 11 innings.
I was asleep. I had to find out the next morning.
Tug, I will tell you, if there is such a thing as like the counterpart to what Georgia is this year, the 80s, 90s slasher film where the killer keeps getting up no matter what you do to it, them's the Dodgers.
Yeah.
They were dead in the water. There are 2 outs remaining. Their 9-hole hitter is up. You're like, you're good. Ball out of the ballpark to tie.
Yep.
And then obviously the go-ahead homer, and then just how that played out to watch them celebrate. Good for Freddie Freeman. We all like Freddie.
Yep, sure do.
But it also does feel when you spend as much as you did on that team, albeit it's obviously deferred, hundreds of millions of dollars is deferred. You kind of like it when they don't win.
Right.
But it paid off and they won.
They bought themselves a World Series.
Another one.
Yeah, right. And
but hey, Toronto had the chance.
They certainly did.
Had 2 shots at it at home.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the last person out of the dugout, just sitting down there, hands in his or a head in his hands. Just can't believe what had happened. Unbelievable. It really was.
It was totally. It was totally unbelievable game Saturday night.
I when I watched the highlights the next morning, I was like, I can't believe I missed this.
Yeah, you did.
I can't. I would feel like kicking my own tail.
And I will just point out that I was looking forward to a game that I said was going to be very treacherous. I was like, Georgia Tech going to NC State. Here's what the line is on this football game. Yeah. Here's where I think it's a problem. Now, long term, it looks like if Georgia Tech can take care of their business, even if they were to lose to Georgia, if you win the ACC championship, you're going to the playoffs. Automatic, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, because of the conference winners.
But that made it very easy to watch the World Series once that game got out of hand in the fourth quarter. Third, fourth quarter, I was like, ooh, didn't see that many points being put on Tech.
Yeah, they got lit up pretty good, but they'll be fine. And you know what? Sometimes it's good to get that little chin check and realize that.
Well, now
and there were several chances this season, that they had shot them, or the other team they were playing shot themselves in the foot is the only reason that they won.
Sure.
Right? So it's good, in my opinion. It's good to get that little chin check because now you know what's on the line. You have to play with lights out nonstop. You can't play any more of those close games. You got to go in and start wrecking house.
Well, now you have a scenario where because of Miami losing their game at SMU, another game, 11 o'clock start, where I was like, this is going to be a problem for Miami. And sure enough, Miami gave that thing away in the fourth quarter. Another Carson Beck interception in overtime. You then have SMU get the game-winning score in overtime. And so that's now their losses. You now have a Miami team where you look at them and you go, okay, well, you're 6-2. You're not dead, but it's a problem.
Yeah, that's going to be challenging.
And so now it's Virginia and Georgia Tech that are leading the ACC.
Goodness gracious. Then yesterday, dude hits a 68-yard field goal in Jacksonville to put them over the Raiders 30-29. You heard me right. 6'8". 68-yard field goal.
There's 2 kickers that are capable of doing this right now. There's one in Dallas, there's one in Jacksonville. And it was really a matter of who's going to be the race to get it. And sure enough, that kick just was incredible. In a game that was really terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, Jacksonville and Las Vegas was a horrible football game. Hey, shout out Brock Bowers. He's back.
No kidding.
He ate. He went for like 138 and 2 touchdowns. He was awesome. Game went to overtime. Jacksonville ends up winning it. But, yeah, that's now the new NFL record, 68-yarder.
When I read that had happened, I went back and watched the highlights. I was like, holy cow.
It's a bomb.
That's like, 70% of the field. My man just kicked it across 70% of the field.
It looks wild when you see it go through the uprights. And typically, as the plan, you always put a defender back there for 2 reasons. Maybe knock it down if it's near the uprights, if it's at the crossbar, or catch it and return it. And to see the look of dejection of like, did that thing really just go through?
Holy cow.
That thing just went through.
It's unbelievable, man. I've never seen anything like it. I've never even heard of anything like it. It just seems like if you're going to be a kicker at any level, the next wave of these guys are going to be expected to do things like that.
Oh, 50 to 59 has now become you better hit this at a pretty high rate. That's why Younghoe Koo is no longer here in Atlanta. And then to see what happened with the Falcons, who fought back in that football game. They looked like they were going to get blown out a multitude of times. To look like they tied it in the fourth quarter, just to have the kicker miss the extra point. And they came through. It was like a hero's death. They came through on a multitude of fourth downs. They're stuck in a position where you're going, all right, how are they going to put this ball in the end zone? Drake London is an absolute monster in the red zone, the Falcons receiver. Another crazy highlight catches that he had. And you're like, it's tied. And then it's not.
And then all of a sudden.
And now you basically have a possession to get the ball back. And
Falcon.
It was
picture of that, the Falcons logo upside down drinking the beer.
I mean, a missed extra point. That's kicking in this league.
Dude.
Again, you got a guy hitting 68 in Jacksonville.
And you're missing a chip shot.
And you're on to your second kicker, and he misses the chippy.
Dude, talking about a kick right in the groin.
It's hard when you see, like, if it's early in the game, you can adjust. When you're down to basically the last possessions of the fourth quarter, and your guy misses the extra point,
just nothing worse. Congratulations goes out to Matt Olson, another Gold Glove.
Another Gold Glove for Matt.
Dude, he's a ball player. Nobody's ever replacing Freddie Freeman, in my opinion, in my view. No one ever replaces Freddie Freeman, but Matt Olson's done a good job since he's come here. Played well, hit well. Good for him. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And outside of that, we have a shutdown for 2-3 more days.
Yes. Yeah. That's
as we're now getting into the. They're using it to turn out the vote. They used it to create their No Kings protest, which I think the joke is now when you see 10 people.
Yeah.
You go. That's 1,000.
That's right.
That's 1,000.
It's a huge
No Kings 1,000
there.
There's 4 people there. There's literally 400 people there at the No Kings protest.
No, it's 400, you mean.
That's the No Kings number.
No, I know.
Well, now it's turned into, all right, they have to use it to create voter turnout because of the numbers that we're seeing when it comes to the favorability of how the Democrats are viewed. I don't know if I've ever in my lifetime remember that when there's a shutdown and the Republicans, by and large, are not catching the brunt of this from their voters. It's not happening. Now, the favorability numbers where they had on Donald Trump, they're like, oh, he went up to 59%. Watch what happens when the government comes back in, because there are the uninformed masses that'll be like, why didn't I get my check? I'll blame Trump. That will cycle back in once everyone starts getting their checks again from the government, or getting, as we like to collectively point out, our money.
Yes.
When that starts to happen. But to see that they're now having to turn this into the Democrats on their side, we need to keep the anger up. Our number one polling issue is that we're not fighting Donald Trump enough, and hopefully that'll turn people out to the polls for tomorrow's election.
Well, let's us hope, because
and then it'll go away.
It'll be because the potential of New Jersey, because that's gotten to be a really close race. New Jersey being red. Would you ever in your lifetime ever consider that?
It started trending that direction. And we have had others. You have had the Chris Christies of the world.
Sure.
But by and large, the last several election cycles, you wouldn't consider it. But this is where, when we talk about losing working class voters, blue collar workers, that Northeastern who's been not so much a liberal, who's been a Democrat.
Yeah, sure.
Democrat their whole life. They're the ones that they're losing out on the far left Democrats. We're going to be at a point, and I would love to maybe do a story time on this at some point during the week. If you look at like the 1860s electoral map to see all the different factions we had a multitude of factions within the Democrat Party in the 1860s. There were the Democrats that looked at it like, hey, we're just Democrats. Then there were the Southern Democrats where they're like, them's people a little bit crazier, but all right, that's who they are. And so there is a scenario we've had where parties do split up into different factions of a party.
Oh, well, sure. I mean, you got the Country Club Republicans and actual conservatives.
Sure.
I mean, it's not that uncommon for a party to have lots of different people.
Establishment Republicans and conservative Republicans have always been two factions of it. I just think that to see what Donald Trump has done and managing to, hey, listen, I'm going to bring some conservative principles to this. I'm by no means a full-on conservative.
And he's not.
But I also can talk to the establishment because I've been the establishment.
Yeah, right. I've been that businessman.
It's much more of a unifying force, whereas the Democrats, since they lack true leadership, it is broken into a multitude of factions. I think that's what we're seeing in places like New Jersey.
Yeah, and we'll play it a little later in the show where Hakeem Jeffrey says, no, Mamdani's not the future of the party. What are you talking about? And I'm thinking to myself as he's like, you do not believe what you were saying right now. You know better.
I think that's a lot of hope that maybe the establishment Democrats can hold on to power from
That's
this
done.
wave of socialism and communism.
Done. That whole thought is over. That's not going to happen ever again.
You ever think in the whole butterfly effect that had they just let Bernie do his thing and then watch what happens when you try and preach socialism? Had it just gotten completely destroyed in a general, they would have been like, okay, that's
Yeah,
done.
let's step away from that.
It's still...
There's still some allure out there because they've never got to try it.
It's the seductive leg of, well, what if we did this?
And we'll get it right. All those other socialists have all ended up killing millions. We won't do that.
We won't do that. We'll do it differently.
That's right.
Yeah, I was listening to Joe Rogan because he had Elon Musk on.
Yeah.
And Elon talked about what he hopes the future is. Like he was talking about the benign future. And he said, hopefully from our AI, from our technology, from our automation, we get to a point where the standard of living through capitalism, by the way, grows so much that then you have universal living income, but he says, but it's high. Like imagine everyone was suddenly 6 figures and everybody had what they needed because of our technology. And you go, well, it kind of sounds like socialism.
It
And,
sounds a lot like it.
As he put it, he goes, if your goal is this like high end of society, he's like, the only way to get through there is through capitalism, through technology. And he went, so these socialists have been doing it wrong the entire time? It's like, because their whole idea is not capitalism. It's like, but what drives ingenuity that then improves society?
Is capitalism.
And so I loved him saying, if you want to get to here, some element of socialism, it needs to be through capitalism and with the futuristic nature of what it should be able to drive for us. But we'll see.
That sounds awful utopian-like.
You know what? There's a reason why we had Star Trek.
Yeah,
Okay?
right.
It's an idealized idea of like, hey,
for sure.
here's we have grown beyond our constraints of people fighting over scraps.
When we come back on Extra 106.3, good morning to you. Ryan Clark is not smart. Next on Extra 103.
Support the advertisers and partners that share your values. Give our Extra advertisers the first shot to earn your business. They will deliver for you every time and support the Extra community like no one else. Connect with all of our partners online at extra1063.com.
Lordy, I know it's still dark outside, but it's also 44. It's Hank Aaron degrees outside. It is freaking freezing. Oh my gosh, up in the mountains this weekend was so amazing, but it was chilly. Thank goodness we sat out in front of that outdoor fireplace and kept warm under blankets and just had the time of our life all weekend long. And the thing that didn't cross my mind was, wonder if the AC is going to work. Wonder if the heat's going to work. Because it was. Of course it was going to work. I am a customer of Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Chuck and his team are making sure that my house, even while I'm away, is perfectly comfortable. That way, when I walk in the door, it is perfectly comfortable. I mean, you could say fall's in the air. It feels like winter is in the air to me. And right now is the perfect time to upgrade your comfort for a limited time. You can get $2,100 in rebates in 60 months, 0% financing with approved credit. That's right. You get both. You don't have to choose. Up to $2,100 in rebates and, not or, but and 16 months, 0% financing with approved credit. All you have to do is reach out to Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Chuck and his team are standing by. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com, and they will never send you through automation hell. They would never do that to you. When you call, someone will pick up during those business hours and answer your questions. 770-GET-HEAT-CentralHeat.com.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. So if you've got old, drafty, sticking, or leaking windows, you need the experienced pros at Window Nation. You can pay a lot less and still get the premium windows you're dreaming of. Their custom windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit, and they're backed by the best warranty in the industry. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION for your free estimate. And for a limited time, get 50% off all window styles, plus pay no interest for 5 years.
Faith, family, freedom. These are the cornerstones of America and the foundation for a successful life. But today, all three are under attack. Crushing debt, out-of-control spending, and reckless policies in Washington are threatening your savings, your retirement, and your future. Hi, this is Glenn Beck. The only financial advisory firm I recommend in Atlanta is Nicholas Wealth Management. David Nicholas and his team believe protecting your money is about more than wealth. It's about defending your faith, your family, and your freedom. If your hard-earned retirement is left exposed to market chaos, higher taxes, or inflation, what happens to the life you've worked so hard to build? For over 20 years, David Nicholas has helped families right here in Atlanta fight back with retirement strategies built to better withstand uncertainty. Call Nicholas Wealth Management today, 404-890-5606, or visit nicholaswealth.com. Aim to safeguard your future today.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies.
Oh no, what is that sound?
It's our rejection detection system. It's showing that several men across Georgia are being denied intimacy by their partners due to ED.
How can this be?
Well, it's more common than you think. As men age, their bodies change. And unfortunately, once they get over 50, some things don't work like they used to.
So what do we do?
There's only one thing to do. We need to get them to Dr. Eric Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. He can fix ED problems.
But how?
At Total Body Therapy of Georgia, they are experts in the P-shot, testosterone replacement, regenerative therapy, and Trimex to create an erection and more.
Hi, this is Dr. Eric Deal from Total Body Therapy of Georgia. Did you know that 50% of men over 50 struggle with some form of ED? Guys, it won't get better on its own. When it's not hard, it's really hard. But I can help you today. Call us at Total Body Therapy of Georgia at 404-777-1911 or learn more about us online at tbtofga.com.
Hi, this is Brad Akins, and no matter what kind of work you do, we have the truck for you at Akins Ford & Winder. Everything from pickup trucks to plumber's trucks, including Ford pickups, flatbeds, utility beds, box trucks, crane trucks, dump trucks, transit vans, wreckers, rollbacks, and more. In fact, we have over 400 commercial vehicles in stock and ready to go when you need them, which is one of the reasons Akins Ford is the #1 commercial truck dealer in the country, because we know trucks. Claim based on December 2024 Ford Commercial Sales Report. See all these trucks at akinsford.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Monday, November 2nd. 3 suspects were arrested as part of a drug trafficking investigation linked to a major Mexican cartel. The GBI says they executed 5 search warrants last week in Atlanta, Sandy Springs, and Woodstock. Authorities seized more than 500 pounds of marijuana, along with 9 firearms in the operation. All 3 men arrested are charged with racketeering and conspiracy to violate Georgia's Controlled Substances Act. The Atlanta DreamHack Gaming Festival had to hit pause over the weekend. A suspicious package prompted evacuations early Sunday morning. The GBI bomb squad cleared the item after a K-9 unit alerted on the package. The festival resumed after the all-clear was given. And a Cobb County nonprofit Community Family Resources launched its 2025 Thanks for Giving program on November 1st to feed 1,000 families during the week of Thanksgiving. The drive seeks donations across the county and highlights a community-wide effort to address hunger ahead of the holidays and during the government shutdown. Today's weather partly cloudy with highs in the mid-60s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
You know, Tug, there are people that, when it comes to doing the race baiting correctly,
Yeah.
you know, I get it. Like Al Sharpton's made a career out of everything's racist, but you've got to do it in a smart way in order to really kind of hold on. It's like the boy who cries wolf.
After a while, it catches up.
After a while, everyone says, well, nothing's racist. If everything's racist, right, then what's the big deal?
It's kind of like the climate change thing that we talked about earlier.
If everything's climate change, nothing's climate change.
Well, that, and if
everyone ignores it.
If it never happens.
Right. And so I think about like a person like Jamel Hill. ESPN, during the first Trump administration, tried to kind of do woke sports. And of the 2 people they selected, there was Michael Smith, and he's just I've met him before at the Senior Bowl. Just a good dude. And he was doing kind of a show. It had a little bit of I would say it had a little bit more of an edge to it. It wasn't all buttoned up. And it was kind of fun. Well, on the other end of it was Jamel that was turning everything into Trump's a problem.
And everything's racist.
And you're like, now, I think she does it in a way where it's a tired old bit. But she's a smart woman. What happens, though, when everything's racist, that's your bit, and you're stupid?
Well, that sounds problematic.
Right? Because when everything's racist and you're smart like Jamel Hill, when you're a sharp person, you can make the argument. You know, Sunny Hostin on The View, sharp woman, everything's racist. And yet, but you're like, all right, you know, it's that's when the whores come in. That you get a little bit like, okay, here we go, I get it. But she might make a point where you go, all right, I don't really think that way. I think that's ridiculous. But since you see everything as race, that's fine. Then there's a guy like Ryan Clark, former NFL safety who appears every morning on ESPN. And in this case, I'll just tell you, because you won't be able to see it, but when Ryan Clark starts to make his political point that he gets into, the look on Stephen A. Smith's face at the table is one of, this guy is an idiot. Like, how am I stuck here at this table with this? It'd be like your grandma at Christmas who starts ranting and raving about her black neighbor. You'd be like, oh my God, like, grandma, stop. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, right.
You know, it's like, that's the sort of stuff where you're like, I don't agree with you. I don't want any part of this. And that's what Ryan Clark did in reference to Charlie Kirk. I want you to listen to this again. Remember, everyone else's face at the table is, oh my God, grandma, like, stop doing that.
First off, it's the second most ridiculous thing he said this week. The first was standing on campus and saying he wanted to put a statue up of somebody that doesn't represent the people of Louisiana, doesn't represent the players and the students at LSU, doesn't represent the executives that work there. That was the first dumb thing. He is a man who got Jay Johnson, right? Last I checked, the 2025 Louisiana State University Tiger baseball team was in the White House getting the GAT recently, right? He was there in 2019 when it's one of the greatest college football teams of all time. He also was there when he said, you know what, we're gonna go out and get Kim Mulkey, right? She brings a championship to the school with Angel Reese and with Flau'jae Johnson. And so to me, this is another situation of politicians poking their nose into things that they don't know about. And I honestly believe it was so he could get in front of a microphone and say, look at this connection I have to the president, and he likes to pick winners so he could placate to somebody he idolizes. You don't know nothing about football. There's enough going on in the state of Louisiana that needs to be fixed for its constituents. Well, I don't need you tweeting on Saturday night about what's going on in Tiger Stadium. There is too many issues happening right there under your nose that ain't got nothing to do with sports. Scott Woodard is a good man. Scott Woodard is a man that cares about LSU. In the greatest times, back in the day, he understood what it was like to be a part of a winner, and he's brought more winners back to the school. He didn't miss because Brian Kelly wasn't capable. He missed because Brian Kelly was no longer willing. Brian Kelly was no longer tapped in. Brian Kelly didn't care if the people of Louisiana cared about him, and he didn't care if the players knew that he cared about them. That's where it went wrong. Not in picking a man who was the winningest all-time coach in Notre Dame history. And so for me, it's emotional, clearly, and it pisses me off, but Scott Woodard deserves to pick the next head coach, and the governor should stay out of it.
Let me clarify a little bit. The governor talked about on the campus at LSU, hey, the athletic director has screwed this up twice. It's a state university. We should be involved in picking the coach. He also talked about in the era of talking about campus free speech, we should have a Charlie Kirk statue out here. And that's where Ryan Clark had the first problem. When he started talking, he didn't say he didn't say Charlie Kirk, but that's what he was referring to about this being stupid. This doesn't represent anybody on this campus. And then he goes into his sports point. But the look on everyone's face of like, are you seriously taking that and lumping it in with whether or not a governor of a state that is having to allocate millions of dollars to this university should say, hey, maybe this guy shouldn't be in charge of picking football coaches because it's not going well.
Hard to argue it when you look at what they're paying out after firing the last two.
It's only $54 million or so for this one.
Chump change. Taxpayers got it. Don't worry about it.
Taxpayers got it. No problem.
But isn't that the way the left thinks, people on the left? They're like, well, let the government pay for it. Fool, your money is what funds the government.
Now, you can always say, well, we fundraise off of that.
Okay.
All right. Fine. You can tell me all about that.
Ask Harvard about losing federal funding.
Yes, when they start to go, oh, this is a problem.
Major problem. So much so they did an about face on every one of their crazy leftist woke ideas.
But the look on the faces of everyone at that table of, did you really just bring up the idea of a Charlie Kirk statue?
Yes.
And crapped all over that before. Yeah. As your starting point for saying that the governor should not. I can make a pretty simple argument. Should the governor be part in the decision making? Probably not. But now I'm going to make the argument. I'm not starting off with the fact that the governor, in the interest of talking about free speech, thinks that there should be a Charlie Kirk statue promoting free speech at a campus that should be a place for free speech.
Right. Because that's the reason you go to college, right?
One has nothing to do with the other.
Yeah, they don't belong together. And that's the reason you go to college, to learn how to think, not what to think. He's part of the what to think crowd.
If you're talking about putting a statue out to acknowledge that a man lived and then ultimately was assassinated, was killed because of his beliefs that we should be talking to one another rather than not talking and shooting, that statue deserves to be anywhere that you would value free speech.
Absolutely.
That's the point. And yet, for it to start with Ryan Clark, it's like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
He doesn't represent any of the values of...
Or he embodies them all.
Or he embodies them all. Now, there's the other funny part, that Charlie Kirk also looked at college as being a scam. And so I get where I'd be like, well, let's make sure we put a statue out here of him.
But not because of the fact that you couldn't go there and learn. It's because, again, you were being taught what to think, not how to think.
Sure.
And the leftist politics that have infiltrated it. And people were told for 30 years to go get underwater basket weaving degrees and you're guaranteed a job. We lied to kids. Or I say we didn't.
The industry.
The industry lied to families and children for 30 years. Is there a benefit to college? Sure, there is. But is it the only way you can make it in America? Absolutely not. And, dude, I'm nobody special. I dropped out 3 times. I need a statue for that.
Telling you, Dalton State couldn't hold you down.
That's right. They need to put a statue out there.
But that's the funny part about Ryan Clark. To think like his very first point came from a place of ignorance.
Yeah.
So that then he could loop it back over into a sports point. Like, clearly you didn't know anything about Charlie Kirk, and you certainly don't know what the belief in Charlie Kirk and how much young people believe and like Charlie Kirk.
Look at Ole Miss. It ain't that far down the road.
No.
That's how much he meant. Over half the student body at Ole Miss signed up to go to that rally that Erica Kirk and then ultimately
J.D. Vance were at.
Vice President Vance was. Over half the student body. Over half. Tell me that Charlie Kirk didn't mean a lot to kids that are that age.
A ton. The value of what he was bringing to the table.
But Ryan Clark is trying to convince me otherwise.
But Ryan Clark, all he has is just, well, here's what I've been told. Here's my view. Is there any point where and here's the fun part about people that are doing that work. I can sit at any table and have a sports discussion. I could walk right down the hall. We could walk right in and talk about last night's Hawks game or what Georgia doesn't do well, or making a legitimate argument for Haynes King for the Heisman Trophy. Like, I can get into all those rooms and do that. I'm not sure one of them can come down here and talk about Charlie Kirk with any sort of level of knowledge. And
that's not what they keep up with.
And that's what Ryan Clark was starting at. That's where he was starting.
And he takes pride in not keeping up with it.
That's where that was his starting point. Like, let me get into these waters to make this sports point. Good luck with that.
Yeah, not a smart guy.
It's very simple. It's what we've said this to writers for a long time. I can do what you do. You can't do what I do. And that applies to me and Tug and Jure. It's like, I can do what you do. You can't do what I do. I always got a kick out of those columnists who wrote for the AJC. And they thought, especially when they were sports oriented, they're like, look, I write for the AJC. I'm like, okay, it's not that impressive.
Okay.
I was like, I know that you're trying to get into radio. Nobody will hire you. I wonder why.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't seem to work out, does it?
Yeah. And those guys, and if I think that's what people like Ryan Clark is what ran off so many people from ESPN, because you and I and so many other people used to watch ESPN with regularity.
Every night.
Never missed it. Now, I understand the landscape has changed. I get that.
Everything's on your phone. All highlights and everything else.
Absolutely. But they could be entertaining. They could put together an entertaining show, and I would probably tune in for a little bit of it. But I know I'm getting Ryan Clark talking points from every show that's on ESPN. So I just don't even pay attention to it at all.
That is, and I just retweeted it out there, and Jeray put it out there on the Extra account. That is Stephen A. Smith's face when Ryan Clark starts alluding to Charlie Kirk and whether or not there'd be a statue on LSU's campus, and he just looks at him like, what are you doing?
He was just like,
like, really? He's got his arms crossed, and his face is like, really, dude?
Like when you came home the first time when you're a 16-year-old driver and you told your daddy you got a ticket. That's the look.
That's the look.
You did what?
There is an air of disappointment, disgust, and wonder. Like, how could you be
so dumb?
How could you be this dumb?
So crazy.
Did you subscribe to this? Like, are you committed? Are you pot committed to this dumb?
Especially with Stephen A. Smith really putting his toes into the political water and talking and researching it and discussing it with regularity. Because he's another guy that can do.
Yes.
He can do both.
And he stepped in it about a week ago.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
And found out pretty quick, all right, you better be pretty good at this. When he talked about how, well, Trump's coming after the NBA.
No,
I'm like, this is an investigation that started 2.5-3 years ago.
That's right. Yeah.
But so you notice how that's been curtailed.
Gone.
He's like, nope.
Yeah, get me away from that. I stepped in it. I realize it. I'm going to do better. 6 o'clock hour brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. When we continue on Extra 106.3. In 2020, you stood at ground zero. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to Extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, November 3rd. The Atlanta Falcons are now 3-5 on the season after a 24-23 loss in Foxborough to the New England Patriots. Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. threw 3 touchdown passes, all to receiver Drake London, but a missed extra point in the fourth quarter was the difference in the ball game. The Falcons will play the 7-2 Indianapolis Colts next Sunday. Week 9 in the NFL comes to a close tonight when the Dallas Cowboys host the Arizona Cardinals for Monday Night Football. The Cowboys are a small 3.5-point favorite for this game. Kickoff is set for 8:15. And the Trae Young-less Hawks dropped to 3-4 on the season after a 117-109 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road last night. The Hawks are off tonight before hosting the Orlando Magic on Tuesday. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Thousands of veterans across Georgia are missing out on the benefits they've earned through their service. The Warrior Alliance is changing that by connecting veterans and their families to life-changing resources and support. Tune into the Warrior Alliance Network, our podcast and radio show dedicated to helping veterans succeed after service. Join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. on Talk Radio 106.3 to hear inspiring veteran stories, discover free programs, and learn about career opportunities available to you. Subscribe to the Warrior Alliance YouTube channel today.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where since 1939, we've been helping Atlanta fill up their jewelry wish lists in a fun, laid-back atmosphere. We have a trained staff of jewelers, not salespeople, to help you find the right fit for any style, any occasion, and any budget. D. Geller & Son has Atlanta's best selection of fashion trends like stackable rings and gemstone necklaces, and the best value in staples like diamond studs and engagement rings. So come by D. Geller & Son in Kennesaw, Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
Okay, who just opened your Obamacare or Marketplace renewal and almost fell off the chair? Hey, 35%, and it's not even any better? You're not crazy. They keep jacking the premium and giving you less. I don't know about this stuff, but I know who does. I go to Steven, the health insurance doctor. I send people there because he's been doing this 16 years. He wins awards for this stuff. He helps the self-employed, 1099, small business owners, the people actually paying for their own insurance. But you're going to get corporate-style coverage, nationwide PPO. How about lower zero deductibles, plans that pay you cash benefits when you use them? And he does it all around the year round there because, you know, he's independent. He's got multiple carriers to quote. A lot of you are going to see that premium go right down instead of up. And in some cases, saving us 60% over that renewal number. He works for you, not Washington. Here's the number, 678-523-0759. 678-523-0759. Or go to healthinsurancedoctor.net. It's Steven, not a call center. Your plan, your savings, and tell him the Kipper sent you.
In case you haven't noticed from the flood of robocalls and junk mail, the Medicare annual enrollment period is here. You have from October 15th until December 7th to get on the right 2026 Medicare plan for you. Even if you're happy with your current plan, it is critical to review the 2026 options. You know, most Medicare plans change every year and many go away entirely. Every year, millions of people end up stuck on plans that leave them overpaying for care or worse, unable to get the care they need. I highly recommend that you call my trusted Medicare partner, Chapter. They are the only advisors that look at every single plan nationwide to make sure you have the best plan for your specific situation. Hundreds of my listeners have already gotten help from Chapter. One couple, Tamara and Dean, they called Chapter after hearing me talk about them, and they're saving almost $3,000 every year now with their new plan. So if you're on Medicare or soon will be, reach out to the good people at Chapter. Call them today, dial pound 250 and say the keyword Chapter for free and honest advice. That's pound 250. Keyword Chapter.
I'm Ashley Dvorkin with a Fox Celebrity Profile with Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Micah Monroe of Hulu's remake of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Winstead hasn't seen the 1992 original, but it still had a chilling effect.
I'm planning on seeing it. I have been meaning to see it since ever since.
I feel like you
understand. Like, I knew the feeling of it. Like I remember when it came out, we all knew, even as a 9-10-year-old, I felt it. I was like, what is this movie? And she's a nanny? She's doing what? And oh my God, like there was a feeling in the air that I remember, like viscerally.
Monroe said she loves the original and shared how this one differs.
This version is like very grounded and at its core is just, you know, looking at these two, very flawed female characters.
Adding to the tension on screen, the stars kept their distance on set.
It was really great. I think it was like a really collaborative experience in that way. It was only to kind of help aid in the scenes, kept that sort of mystery between us, and we still were like super friendly.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Don't let your afternoon drive get bogged down with traffic and weather breaks. Just enjoy the Kimmer Show from 3 to 6 p.m.
Let's see, the phone call taking priority. Marietta Mark. You're on the radio, Marietta Mark. How's it going, sir? Welcome. What's up, man?
Hey, Kimmer, doing great. Listen, you guys are exactly what Atlanta traffic needs in the afternoon. You're entertaining and you make people laugh and you make it livable.
Don't worry, it's only the Kimmer on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3. You can listen to Kimmer this afternoon from 3 until 6. Prior to that, the biggest show in all of conservative media with Clay and Buck. And then right after we're done, before them, is the Glenn Beck program. How are you, Front Office Los?
I'm doing great.
I love that.
I also feel like I'm in one of those moments of saying, hey, I'm glad y'all are paying attention, but can y'all just ignore us for a little while longer? And the reason I bring this up.
Well, now I'm confused. Yeah, what do you mean?
How long have we been talking about in this state, going now 5 years worth of, hey, those 2020 ballots, can we get a look at them?
Holy cow.
And how many people have said that?
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, seemingly.
To the point where it just kind of got swept under the rug, and it became we were banging our head against the wall, and we all got to the point where we just said, it's not going to happen. And it's never going to happen.
Yeah. And right? It's so frustrating because so many people were at polling places, were at all kinds of places that saw craziness happen.
So with that being noted, it's our cross to bear, so to speak. It's one of those things where we go, yeah, it seemed really weird. When we've also had powerful people within the state, they've tried, most of the time outside organizations, and nothing happens. Well, if you might have missed it on Friday, the DOJ sent their subpoena to basically say, we want to see those ballots.
Aha.
The Department of Justice got involved. Now, what has also happened here? So a guy like Steve Bannon, where the previous administration locked him up.
Yeah.
Steve Bannon had to do a little time over just some silliness.
I believe that's called a political prisoner, I think.
I believe so. I believe when it...
Am I right on my off base?
I mean, we did have Arctic frost of trying to figure out how to lock these people up.
You wouldn't know that unless you listen to this show because no one else does anything on it.
So Steve Bannon was one of the people that got caught up. Well, Steve Bannon ends up doing a part of his show on Friday, and he is... And this is the part where I say it's a little frustrating. Steve Bannon's like, well, why didn't we get access to those ballots? I'm like, Steve, we've been asking for 5 years, man.
Yeah. Catch up, pal. I mean, I love you, Steve. Catch up.
What has gone on now is Bannon has at least put a big enough of a spotlight and a big enough of a bullhorn on this where now if you were to search, like if you went onto X and you searched like Georgia and voting, the amount of things you will now have pop up. Like, for instance, I thought this was funny. And here it is. Democrat Governor Brian Kemp, and that was intentionally done.
That's right.
On August 15, 2023, responding to the President Trump's True Social post about the 2020 presidential election by stating, nobody has come forward with evidence of election fraud. All right, so this is all being talked about again. And why is it being talked about? And it's just straight from the numbers, and I'll just give it to you real quick so we're all on the same page here. Bannon points this out, and he has it pinned on Bannon's War Room.
He don't want anybody to miss it. He wants everybody to see it.
This is from a year ago. He points out, Joe Biden never got 15 million more votes than Barack Obama. It's impossible. He says, we didn't pick up 12 House seats and lose the presidential. Impossible. He says, we didn't win 19 out of 20 bellwether states or bellwether counties and lose the presidency. It's impossible. He is now pointing it out. I think we're going to get a lot more of, and we'll see what happens with what the subpoena is, because largely you have had whatever's going on within this state of it being stonewalled. Will it continue to be?
From every which direction,
From
too.
every which
Make
direction.
sure you're not mistaken about who's doing this.
Yes. So I'll be curious. Again, I'm not Lucy with the football here. All right? I've been told a number of times we're going to see these ballots, and it never happens. And then we're always told, well, there's nothing here. And that's fine, too. Did we make up and fix some things for 2022? Yes. Had record turnout. 2024, same thing. You got the results that you believed you were seeing in the state. In a state that basically is now 4 to 6% more Republican than Democrat anyway. But yet the DOJ is now getting involved and turning it into show me them ballots.
Well, because we've been told that there is a warehouse or some sort of place where some ballots are being held that were unfolded. They were mail-in ballots, unfolded. I've been hearing about this forever. Let's get to the bottom of it. If they're not there and that's not real, then make that clear so everybody understands it. And if they are real, then let's figure out why a mail-in ballot was never folded, yet counted.
And as it's pointed out, and Steve Bannon's gone down this road, so I'm glad other people are now asking these questions. Right, because this is we've talked about this for 4 or 5 years. This is not new to us. And does it make me feel weird that their questions are the exact same thing as we've asked for 3-4 years?
Well, it just makes you probably go, where you been?
Where they're talking about 400,000 ballots that they now we've got to see these. Like, we've been telling you.
Been asking to see them for a long time,
and
Stevie.
we've also been telling you nothing's happened.
Yeah. I'm not mad at you, Stevie. I'm actually glad that you're on board.
I'm glad other people are now making this mainstream.
Because we've been waving our arms for as long as this station has existed.
To the point where we have eventually just conceded, were there irregularities and weird stuff? Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely, 100%.
Are we ever going to figure out what it was? Doesn't feel like it.
I don't feel like that.
Until now, at least there's a glimmer of hope. But it doesn't mean that they'll get it done. I'm just saying there's a glimmer of hope.
Stonewall the DOJ, the Department of Justice, hey, we need to see those ballots. Does it take the power of the administration to do it, apparently?
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll see where it goes. But it almost feels like we are We've got so many dead horses around here.
Yeah, but this topic gets so many people so fired up.
I
Because
agree.
everybody knows something happened. And I have, y'all, you know how much I love Janelle King. She is the one that finally, I kept telling her, she would come on before she joined the state elections board. She'd come on and she's like, I just don't know. I don't know if anything happened or not. I don't know. Then she gets on that state election board and she goes, something's happened. And when she tells me that, I have incredible faith in her and her ability to see what has happened and what's going on. And she makes it clear it's been happening for years, not just in 2020, many years prior to that, and benefiting Republicans and Democrats.
But we all think there's going to be some smoking gun behind some door. There's where the body is. We've been looking for the body the entire time.
We need to get Janelle on because I would love to know is there one smoking gun? Is there a what is it that, and I don't know what she can tell us legally.
And quite honestly, I think that if there was, hey, we know there's a smoking gun behind that door, don't you think that you would have dozens of Republican politicians in this state trying to get at it with the idea that I've just made a career and like a name for myself? Like we had the one state senator who was exposing this is how at Hartfield Jackson.
Oh yeah.
It's a Colton Moore.
There you go.
Colton Moore made it a point to expose how the airport is processing illegals and sending them all over the country through the Biden administration. And you want to talk about, like, that was like the Hail Mary move of, like, I'm going to have a place within the administration, at least in my opinion. I'm going to be the truth teller. And you had so many people come down on him in a way. I think that if you were to be able to prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that Donald Trump was cheated out of his election in this state in 2020, you would be golden. Like, you might be able to be, like, what role would you like in the administration?
Oh, sure.
You know?
But if you recall, Colton Moore was also the guy that they threw out.
Yes.
Wouldn't let him walk in to go into to vote at the state capitol. I don't know, that did not feel right to me. When I saw that happening, I'm like, this is the same guy that's pointed out a whole bunch of things going on around the state, has lots of questions, many of the same ones I have, and he's the one getting kicked out.
He's ostracized. So we'll see. I know that it gives me tired head. I just believe I'll never see those ballots and they'll never see the light of day. Yeah. But I will just tell you that the numbers, statistically, we've gone through this ad nauseum. The numbers don't make any sense to the point now where you can say Donald Trump was cheated in an election. I think a lot of people would have come around to going like, yeah, how do you win 19 out of the 20 bellwether counties and lose the presidency? How do you pick up 12 seats in the House but you lose the presidency? How does all this happen at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning? How did Joe Biden get 15 million more votes than Barack Obama? How did Joe Biden at one point have nearly 8 million more votes than Kamala Harris until California kept voting in order to make the numbers look not quite as crazy? Like, what happened to 8 million voters? They just disappeared? They just decided not to show up?
We're just not coming out.
Suddenly, we're just not that interested?
No.
Of
course not.
The numbers don't work. But the DOJ's asking. They're the ones who are going to try and subpoena this information again. We'll see what happens. I'm just not going to be Lucy with the football.
Fingers crossed. Hope for the best. Expect the worst. That's the way I live my life. Always. I just expect the worst is going to happen, and then when it doesn't, you're like, oh, well, look at there. Surprise, surprise. It went my way.
How beautiful, though. If you had Fonnie Willis, who actually put together a prosecution of Donald Trump for trying to find out what happened in Georgia, to then him in power with the administration and the DOJ going, now you're going to give us that, and now we're going to be able to tell everybody with a shadow of doubt what happened.
Kind of reminds you of what's happening at the federal level right now with Arctic frost and with Russian collusion, because the same thing, all of them.
Never would have thought he's in power again.
Ever worried about it. Who's coming after you? We're keeping that clown out of office. He's never coming after you. Don't you worry. And then he did. When we come back on Extra 106.3, Ted Cruz gave a prediction about the reopening of the government and why. Next on Extra.
Stream Atlanta's only conservative voice anywhere you go with the Extra 106.3 app. Now equipped with Apple CarPlay. That means you'll always have Extra's crystal clear HD stream right on your dashboard no matter where you are. Download the all-new Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
If you're looking to take your coaching game to the next level, the Atlanta Braves invite you to join the annual Braves Coaches Clinic held at Truist Park Saturday, December 6th. This one-day clinic will include instruction from members of the Braves' current Major League coaching staff, in addition to notable Braves alumni. The clinic is perfect for coaches at every level of the game, from youth baseball through high school. Learn more and register today for only $30 at braves.com/clinics.
Hey, this is Tom Mitchell, the Honest Car Guy. So things are deceiving sometimes, and it's hard to explain how much money I can really save you. I've saved people upwards of $20,000 and $30,000. I mean, it really depends on the year, the make, the model of the car, and the price of the car. You know, on a $15,000 car, I can't save you $20,000. I mean, let's be realistic. We can probably save you $2,000 or $3,000, but it's through the course of the whole sale. The big one here that people don't realize, the financing. You go into the dealership, they tell you your rate's 9%, or really it's probably 7% because they're allowed to make 2 points on there. We found a better way for customers to buy a car, an honest way, a very transparent way. You pay what we pay plus our honest fee. We even prove it to you by giving you a copy of the bill of sale at the end of the deal. So the beauty of what we do is we don't put you on a car that we have to sell. We put you on a car that you want. And at the Honest Car Guy, you'll save an average of $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the price of the car. Call 1-844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
A company that has been trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years has already done their hometown homework, like having the very best people, fair, honest pricing, exceptional customer service, and a focus on high-quality work. That's us. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. Sometimes new isn't better, like out-of-town home improvement companies invading Atlanta with their inflated pricing and subpar work. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.com.
See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at progressive.com.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
The left, the people seeking even more government power over our everyday activities, continue to insist that the world is coming to an end due to climate change, probably by next week. Keep believing them, people.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app. The Kimmer Show is live on your ride home on WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. Extra 106.3.
The eve of Election Day, CJ Papa, Fox News. Now, President Obama on the ground this week in a pair of states on the East Coast where Democrats want to remain in power in the governor's mansion for a third straight term. That's New Jersey. And they want to seize control again, booting out Republicans in the state house. That's Virginia. Fox's Madeline Rivera has more.
Democrats are bringing out their biggest closer, former President Obama, to give candidates a boost. He headlined rallies in New Jersey and Virginia over the weekend where he took jabs at President Trump. Despite Obama's criticism, Republicans believe they have a very good chance of flipping New Jersey's governor's seat red. A Fox News poll shows Democrat Mikey Sherrill leads Republican Jack Ciattarelli by 7 percentage points, but some believe the race is tighter than that, giving Democrats the jitters. In Virginia, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Abigail Spanberger's lead over Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears is wider. Democrats hope anger over the firing and furloughs of federal workers will galvanize voters.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera. President Trump holding tele-rallies this evening in Virginia and New Jersey, trying to sway voters who have not cast their vote early to vote for Republicans running for governor in those states. A brisk early voting in the Big Apple where the mayor seat is up for grabs.
On the city's west side in New York, there are long lines. People I talked to said they have not seen lines like this for a local election in decades. That's because the national spotlight is right here in the Big Apple. As that race continues to narrow, people want to make sure their vote will count.
I've never seen an election and lines like this up the block before the actual election day, which I'm hoping is a good sign for Cuomo.
And I just checked in with former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's campaign, who tells Fox that the larger the voter turnout is, the better they believe it is for them. And Cuomo thinks he can close the gap on Democratic nominee Zoran Mamdani.
Fox's Alexa McAdams in New York City. America's listening to Fox News.
We all know the importance of good daily habits, whether it's getting your steps in, stretching those limbs, or eating right. Doing it on the regular is key. That's why if you're dealing with everyday aches and pain, it's time to bring Relief Factor into your routine. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a special formula of 4 natural ingredients. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. So call 1-800-4-RELIEF and try their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Simply call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, don't let it keep you from living the life you want. Make Relief Factor part of your daily routine. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Wake up with the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 Atlanta.
Morning, y'all. It's Tug and Los on Extra 106.3. So thankful you're here. It's been a bit of a wacky day. I feel like off just a little bit. I think it's because of the time change, and I know they say it ain't supposed to get you. You got a day to recover, but it has.
Did it affect your cycle?
Yes, it did. As a matter of fact, yes.
That's what happened. He's more irritable than normal.
That's right. Yeah, I just feel off today. I feel like I've done everything out of order. It's been weird. It's been such an odd morning.
Yesterday morning was a little bit weird for me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have my normal Sunday morning routine, and in my mind, I kept telling myself, just read and go back to bed and you'll adjust to this.
You'll be fine.
I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I was like, just read, go back to bed for like another 30 minutes and you'll feel normal about this.
Yeah.
But no.
It's been a little bit wacky. It's been a little bit crazy. But we're going to get through it together. So if you're struggling with it too, then I can relate to you. 404-741-1230 at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. You had a great weekend of sports. Georgia gets a big come-from-behind win against Florida. Could have been a bigger win than it was, but instead of diving into the end zone, we got to kneel down right on the 1-yard line to freeze and to ice the game.
So
if you had Georgia -7.
Yeah, the amount of airline bottles, at that point, we're like 2 or 3 that like the whole group I was with.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I was really doing my thing. I was bringing cheer to everyone. As soon as he did that, as soon as Gunnar Stockton went for the kneel down, which he didn't do against Auburn, and they got brought up with him, I went, oh. And a couple of people were like, what do you mean? I go, yeah, the line was 7.5.
Yeah.
It's like there are a lot of bettors right now that are just getting ready to want to just jump out a window. Because that was easy. That was an easy cover at that point. Up by 4.
Yep, absolutely right.
About to make it 10, maybe 11.
Yep. There
Done.
You go. And if you saw, I don't know if you saw this, and I don't know that Lawson was trying to remind Gunnar, but Lawson Lucky kneeled down. He was the lead blocker on that, and he knelt on the 1 second, an nth of a second before Gunnar did. Now, would have Gunnar done it anyway? Probably. He's a smart kid. You know, he's learned that Kirby said, hey, we're going to run this clock out. We don't care what the margin of victory is. We want to win. We don't want to give them a chance. We keep the heel on the throat. And but it was funny to see Lawson Lucky as just a reminder, hey, man, kneel here on the 1. Kneel here on the 1.
If you don't give them the ball back,
That's right.
They can't beat you.
They can't beat you, which was the whole thought process. But it was just funny to see people melting down on social media.
Now, granted, it's going to take a arrangement of 3 miracles, but you've also seen that weird stuff happen before. So just take that knee.
Absolutely right. Let's get the win. And they did. Georgia Tech not so lucky this week. NC State put a whooping on them. But they're still in the driver's seat. Georgia Tech's I don't know if you call it a miracle season, but certainly
it's a great season going.
A great season.
It's a great season going.
For the Jackets and Jackets fans. That that's a bump in the road. I think it's good to get that chin check now before you get to the point at the end of the season where you got to just play lights out. And it takes a little bit of luck. It does. In playoffs, no matter what sport, there's some luck involved. And Georgia Tech still on track to have an incredible season. And you brought it up earlier, even if they were to lose to Georgia in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, then they would still likely get in.
Well, they would have an opportunity to play in the ACC championship game.
And then if you win the conference. And Georgia Tech's better than Virginia, if you're asking me.
I think Virginia's been begging to lose for weeks.
Yeah.
Like that team, I don't know how they keep doing it, but they keep getting it done, which it makes them as dangerous as Georgia Tech in my mind.
Absolutely. Better lucky than good, they say.
That's how it goes. But if you win the conference and you have that driver's seat along with Virginia, you're going to be a playoff team, no matter what happens with Georgia. So we'll see.
Yeah.
See how it's going to play out. Georgia still has the gauntlet of Mississippi State, who's playing better football.
Yes, they are.
It's Texas.
Who looked really good this weekend.
They took care of Now, I don't know what happened in the fourth quarter. If you didn't see this game, Texas well under control. Vandy scores 21 unanswered in the fourth quarter, and it gets down to, all right, it's onside time, and this is going to decide the game. There were 3 different Vanderbilt players
touched the ball,
who touched that football on the onside and couldn't corral it. So Texas got away 34-31. But between that game and then looming with Georgia Tech, it's still going to be a good run for Georgia to get there.
I think Georgia's got the
and by the way, even if they did do that, you still right now have Alabama and Texas A&M as the leaders to play in a SEC championship game, which I ain't against the idea of Georgia going 11-1, missing out on that opportunity because you're going to the playoff and you don't have to worry about the extra game.
And don't have to worry about getting hurt, getting banged up. Dude, it's different than baseball. Baseball, it seems like the week off actually screws you. We've seen it in Atlanta many times. Play all the way through. Football, you need that rest. You need that ability to heal guys and just that extra, because football is so brutal, man. Just getting beat to pieces all the stinking time. But a good weekend, no doubt. Los won the weekend at his house, doing hot dogs, airline bottles, and candy. This is the trifecta of Halloween. This is the new standard that he set.
In fact, my wife said next year we got to do more than 30 dogs.
Because they went through 30 in like 25 minutes.
It went so quick.
That's so great.
We were able to pack up everything, fire pit, seats, all of that by like 8:30. We were at dinner by just after 9 o'clock.
Wow.
Now, we did have one incident.
Uh-oh, you didn't tell me about that.
Somebody decided to steal our candy bowl.
Did you leave it out?
The whole bowl.
Did you leave it out on the porch to let kids just take one?
No, we left it on the table out front where we had set up everything. And this is a big, this is like a 10-pound bowl.
No, I know. My wife's,
It's like a cauldron.
Dump the bowl in the bag or just took the physical bowl and all?
The bowl and all.
Same thing happened to us a few years ago.
The bowl and all.
Told my wife not to do it.
Somebody had to carry around a bowl.
Yeah.
That's a big bowl.
Yeah. Kids find it humorous, though. I don't know why.
There was a kid on Saturday morning dumped a whole box of cereal in that thing, just smiling ear to ear.
Stirring it up.
Listen, if you want to take all the candy in there, we don't want it.
Yeah.
Pour it all into your bag.
But leave the bowl. Yeah, we had a one called Mr. Big Bowl because we used it every year. And Laura, and when we would go walking around, we'd leave that out on the front. And I was like, Laura, don't leave it. Somebody's going to take it. First year they didn't. She's like, see, I told you. Next year, gone.
Well, now I'm going to have to move it up to the porch. Because at that point, all the cameras catch everything.
Exactly.
But I left it out there because
making it easy.
We were encouraging them not have to walk all the way up and walk over to the front door.
Yeah, just teach kids better. But sometimes, even when you teach them better,
if you have a bowl that has 2 witches' feet stuck out of it, like the bowl fell on it, just know that your little child's a thieving bastard.
That's right, and please return it.
That's right.
And we'll ask no questions. We won't report him to law enforcement authorities. But
you got 24 hours. Put that bowl right back in my driveway.
Come on. That's the way to get it done right there. We're going to, according to Ted Cruz, we're going to see the government reopen, but there is a plan behind it.
Yeah, so Ted Cruz was a guest on Fox Business on Sunday morning, and he was with Maria, and they were talking about what he hears the plan is. And Ted Cruz basically laid out, here is what the Democrats are going to do this week and how we will have the government reopen.
Will the government open this upcoming week? This is getting seriously impacting the U.S. economy. What's your take? I think it's likely to open Wednesday or Thursday of this week. The Democrats will wait until after Election Day because they think a shutdown is good for energizing the crazies in their party. But I think it'll be either late this week or early next week.
So he's calling the shot here.
Which is not that surprising, although we heard the same kind of thing after the No Kings protest. We're going to do the 17 million people showing up, J.B. Pritzker, saying we're going to open it right back up after this just to show the power of the Democrat Party. And there was no show of power. We had more people at college football games than they had at No Kings protesters. So maybe they backed off. And so maybe they're like, okay, how do we recalculate this?
I think a lot of this is let's drive this. Again, I've talked about what the polling says. The polling on our side continues to say the economy is always going to be number one. That when we're dealing with the economy, the inflation, the growth, that's going to be number one. Number two right now has been illegal immigration / law enforcement. Those are our two biggest ones. Number one on their side is fighting Trump.
That's number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
That's their biggest one.
That's the only one they have.
Doesn't have anything to do with the economy. Don't have to talk about inflation.
That's the only one they have, dude.
Border enforcement. Number one that's been pulled on their side, the most important issue is fighting Trump. That's why they're continuing this, so that they can make sure that the crazies they have on their side, they keep the poll numbers jazzed, and so that they hopefully are going to be able to get turnout across the Northeast where they have these contested races.
That's the only thing they have consensus on. Nothing else. They can't bring that party together to say anything, do anything, unless it is fight Trump. And then they're all in.
Well, it's a civil war on their part. It is. This is not about what Republicans are doing, what the conservatives are doing. And let's face it, we've had times where the establishment and the conservative end of this party are at each other's throats. Like, y'all are a bunch of weasels. Y'all are a bunch of do-gooders. That's just what it turns into. The party has been largely united with Donald Trump because of everyone's getting a little bit of what they want. You're getting your economic growth. You over here are getting your security. We're making sure to stay out of foreign conflicts. Oh, by the way, if we got to drill somebody with a rocket now and then, we'll do it. Everybody's getting a little bit of what they want.
Right. The war hawks are like, can we do some more Iran?
Can we hit somebody?
How about Venezuela? Let's take out Maduro, which I think I really think that's on the docket, not to change the subject.
Listen, I need to make sure that, is there anything going on in Africa we put a missile on somebody? I mean, that's the mentality here.
Well, Nicki Minaj, did you see her in response to Donald Trump saying that we're going to corral and help the Christians in Nigeria? Now she's got what she wants. She says thank you, except for losing fans and followers on social media for saying something nice about Trump.
So not to change the subject, Mr. Diatribe.
Yeah, sorry.
But it's about the Democrats.
I know.
And all of their multitude of factions. They're in this situation where Tug and I think you and I appeal to the old school blue dog Democrat, because I don't think we talk about matters in absolutes. What do we only talk about in absolutes? Don't pay attention to socialists and communists.
Yes, that's right.
We've talked about how when Bill Maher tries to talk to the Democrat Party, we're like, here, I'm with you. We could have a discussion.
That's right.
When we talk about, the raging Cajun, why is he raging so much? He's like, this party is messed up. I think you and I would be able to sit down with any run-of-the-mill Democrat and have a discussion where 80-90% of the stuff we would be like, hey, I agree with you on that. It's that your party's been pulled so far away from you. You don't have a political home. That's where I believe this civil war is going on.
And that's why when you see yesterday, when you see Hakeem Jeffries say, no, Mamdani's not the face of the Democrat Party. No, we're not trending toward communism and socialism. Yes, sir, you are. Tell me how you're not. Give me one example of where regular, normal Democrats like Maher or like a Raging Cajun is being paid attention to whatsoever, because I don't see it.
And that's where Tug sounds the alarm. And I agree with you when you say, isn't it alarming that the one person that has energy within their party, if not two, is Mamdani and AOC? It's not Gavin Newsom.
No.
And
it certainly isn't Chuck Schumer.
And it ain't Hakeem Jeffries. Where's the energy in their party? Their energy is with the communists, the socialists.
And this is how I know this, is Saturday Night Live is always talking about Mamdani. They did skits about him this weekend. He is the only person they're doing skits about. They recognize what's happening. I'm not saying they're for or against. I don't know how they feel, but they know who's getting the attention. That's the reason they've put their attention on him.
So when only a couple of people are driving the energy of the party, the possible turnout. Does it not make sense when Ted Cruz is like, once they're elected, then you'll see what's going to happen from here. And at that point, they're going to open up the government because they can't keep taking these brutal losses in terms of, in my opinion, the general population. The general population who's paying attention knows this is on the Democrats.
Absolutely right. And you had people like, who was it? John Fetterman. He was like, own it.
Yeah, he's like,
it's yours.
He's like, it's our fault.
Yeah, it's our fault. A guy, he pointed out when the Republicans held out a long time ago, I feel like they did the wrong thing. And now we're holding out, I feel like we're doing the wrong thing. We own it. Just say it. No Democrat is saying that except him. Nobody.
Just to point out, there's a reason why they keep voting on a continuing resolution that doesn't have any additional conditions to it than what has already been voted on by both sides of the House and both sides of the Senate.
We'll see if Ted Cruz is right because they'll vote again on Wednesday.
That's when they say a clean CR. You don't have anything that's been added to it that has not already been negotiated by both sides or has been voted on by both sides and it's been through.
It should be really, really, really simple, yet it's not because this is their only way. This is, what do they call it? Their leverage.
Their leverage.
That's all they have. They have nothing else. And it doesn't upset me at all that they have nothing else. I'm glad that they don't. But the direction of the party is as hard left as we've ever seen it in the United States. We've never seen actual communists and socialists having a bit of a grasp on a political party. And we certainly have it now. There's nothing left with the Democrat Party except that. That's the only thing that they have.
Who would have thought that the era of McCarthyism would actually show up in our lifetimes?
And he was right. He may have some of the details wrong. He was right. There are so many communists. I mean, if you look at, I've watched documentaries about, JFK and Marilyn Monroe or whatever, and they say Marilyn Monroe was involved in the Communist Party. That's been reported on many, many times. Was she or not? I don't know, but it's been reported. That's just one of many.
But that was almost, at least it was routinely available in academia, where you had professors, teachers, people on campus that routinely might go to a rally, might look into some of this stuff, might be like, hey, maybe I remember too, it's in a different era. When we think about like the World War II era, we weren't so much looking at the communists and saying, oh, they're terrible people. We're like, no, they're kicking German ass like we're trying to kick German ass.
Yeah.
In fact, the reason why the Germans lost the war isn't so much because of us. It was because of the Russians. The Russians are the ones that ended up decimating them after their winter and rolling into their capital. That wasn't us. We were doing our business in the Pacific. We were obviously moving across Europe, but it was the Russians who beat everybody in to Berlin.
Dude, it's freaking crazy.
And they paid a high price for it, too.
They certainly did. And I wonder if there's, still resentment to this day from people like Vladimir Putin over all that kind of stuff.
Well, you want to know why that you have the Russians historically who don't care for socialists.
Yeah.
Even though, you're a socialist, you're a communist, they don't care for Nazis.
Yeah, no kidding. It's freaking what a mess. What a crazy world that we are in. And it seemingly is getting crazier.
We didn't get to the second part of this segment.
Dude.
Let's get into it next because this is beautiful.
Dude, this audio of John Brennan being questioned about things that we've told you about on this show a multitude of times and him losing his cool. He knows he is screwed, just like the Democrats. And if we get a chance, we'll get another prominent Democrat saying, yes, the Democrats are screwed. All next on Xtra 106.3.
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kimmer Show, only on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
While fall temperatures are cooling down, the action in the stadium and on the field is really heating up. If you find yourself in hot water from too much celebrating during the game, it's important to know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds. We handle bonds for those in the Bends to those who celebrate action between the hedges. At A Second Chance, we can have you or your loved one out of jail in a matter of hours. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT. That's 404-BAIL-OUT. Or online at atlbail.com.
Attention Xtra listeners. The end of the year is closing in. Are your retirement plans ready? We at Master Plan Retirement Consultants are holistic retirement planners, including income and growth planning, tax strategies, and estate and legacy planning. Each piece of the retirement puzzle must fit together cohesively because we know a change in one area can inevitably affect the others. Our boutique team serves you with fiduciary care, ensuring every step moves you closer to a confident, sustainable retirement. Don't wait. There's still time to adjust your plan before year end. Schedule your complimentary consultation now at masterplanretire.com. Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Hey, this is Tom Mitchell, the honest car guy. So things are deceiving sometimes, and it's hard to explain how much money I can really save you. I've saved people upwards of $20,000 and $30,000. I mean, it really depends on the year, the make, the model of the car, and the price of the car. You know, on a $15,000 car, I can't save you $20,000. I mean, let's be realistic. We can probably save you $2,000 or $3,000, but it's through the course of the whole sale. The big one here that people don't realize, the financing. You go into the dealership, they tell you your rate's 9%, or really it's probably 7% because they're allowed to make 2 points on there. We found a better way for customers to buy a car, an honest way, a very transparent way. You pay what we pay plus our honest fee. We even prove it to you by giving you a copy of the bill of sale at the end of the deal. So the beauty of what we do is we don't put you on a car that we have to sell. We put you on a car that you want. And at the Honest Car Guy, you'll save an average of $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the price of the car. Call 1-844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Hey, this is Matt from East Cobb. We basically bought our house from our in-laws. It was my wife's childhood home. One of the issues that we've had when we first moved in was our dog in our backyard. It was extremely shaded, could never grow grass back there. We resodded it twice. So ATL Turf Co. did an amazing job with our backyard transformation. They basically created a miniature golf hole. We have a miniature fairway. We also have a miniature little putting green. Consists of about 4 holes, total about 40 yards, so you can definitely work on your short game and your putting. After that transformation that ATL Turf Co. did for us, my father-in-law came and saw his house the way it looked after the fact of we had a putting green and a miniature golf course. Sure enough, he did the same thing with ATL Turf Co. He has a beautiful backyard, wonderful stonework, drainage, and a beautiful practice area for chipping and putting. Check him out online at atlturfco.com.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A service dog from Colorado who saved his human's life makes today's Dean's List. Army and Marine Corps veteran Hank Ford has had his 3-year-old dog Tommy for several years now and is grateful for his companionship and the bond that they both share. Hank was in the military for 2 decades and has PTSD from his tours in Desert Storm and Operation Iraqi Freedom. Tommy came into his life when things were very dark, and Tommy, he says, was the light. A few months ago, after Hank's wife went to work, Tommy started barking and jumping on Hank, trying to keep him awake. He thought the dog needed to go outside, but when he stood up, he was dizzy and weak. Tommy didn't stop barking and trying to communicate, and Hank knew something was wrong, so he went to the hospital, where doctors say he could have had a massive stroke, and his heart had to be shocked to bring it back into rhythm. Tommy, his dog, never left his side, and Hank has no doubt that his 4-legged companion and best friend saved his life. Janice Dean, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Monday, November 2nd. 3 suspects were arrested as part of a drug trafficking investigation linked to a major Mexican cartel. The GBI says they executed 5 search warrants last week in Atlanta, Sandy Springs, and Woodstock. Authorities seized more than 500 pounds of marijuana, along with 9 firearms in the operation. All 3 men arrested are charged with racketeering and conspiracy to violate Georgia's Controlled Substances Act. The Atlanta DreamHack Gaming Festival had to hit pause over the weekend. A suspicious package prompted evacuations early Sunday morning. The GBI bomb squad cleared the item after a K-9 unit alerted on the package. The festival resumed after the all-clear was given. And a Cobb County nonprofit Community Family Resources launched its 2025 Thanks for Giving program on November 1st to feed 1,000 families during the week of Thanksgiving. The drive seeks donations across the county and highlights a community-wide effort to address hunger ahead of the holidays and during the government shutdown. Today's weather partly cloudy with highs in the mid-60s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3. On the app, best way to listen, 404-741-1230 to get involved. Or at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. John Brennan sat down for what looked to be a discussion about his time in the federal government. And he has an absolute meltdown, Los, because there is a person that is asking him questions that we've brought up on this show before about the email that was sent to all the heads of intel in Washington, D.C., and basically his email said, we have to do it this way so we can get this to work. What was he talking about? The ICA, the new intelligence brief that Barack Obama had ordered, John Brennan put together. They rushed it through, usually months and months. They got it done in 3 weeks. And John Brennan says in that email that he's asked about, hey, we got to make this work. If we're not on the same page, it ain't going to work. And he gets questioned about it.
Just to give people a little bit of history, John Brennan's career at the CIA was dead in the water. He was not going to ever be a station chief. He was never going to be given anything of real substance and importance. It looked like the organization tried to retire him 2 different times. And what did he do? He joined up with Barack Obama's campaign. And by the time Obama won, Obama's the one who elevated him to CIA director, a guy that the CIA looked at and said, he's not on this level. So by the time you get to the end of the Obama administration, and it looks like Trump's coming in and he's going to bring a wrecking ball to Obama's legacy, is it that surprising that Brennan started making some moves in order to see what they could do to set up President Trump?
I want you to hear the meltdown moment. It's about 90 seconds. And Brennan's sitting in a chair, and he's asked by a guy about this email that we just explained to you.
I was at the DNI when the first ICA was released regarding cyber influence on the 2016 election. I was there. I was working in the NIM. I read it. I also was involved in setting up the Principals Committee meeting that took place in December that resulted in President Obama directing a more fulsome, because I understand the difference between a cyber ICA and a total whole-of-government ICA intelligence collection on Russian involvement or influence in the election. And I noticed immediately in the ICA, the second ICA, because I had access to the classified ICA, that there were statements in that ICA that were not supported with the sourcing that was associated to the ICA, specifically that Putin had directed the action and that Putin had, that the Russians were actively trying to support President Trump instead of just sow chaos.
So your question.
My question. There was an email that went around from General Clapper to yourself and Hayden. I'm sorry, not Hayden.
That's right.
Yourself and Comey, etc., that basically said we all got to get on board with this, otherwise it isn't going to work, basically. And I think that email puts everybody in the crosshairs. I would like to hear what your justification was for supporting the dossier that was known to be false being used as source material in the second ICA.
I don't know who put you up to this.
Nobody put me up to this, sir. I'm here on my own.
I don't know what role you played or who you are, but it's a bunch of bullshit.
There we go.
The emails are clear, sir.
Yeah, and then it goes on, and he's basically, Brennan just says, I'm going to ignore you. He had no other response. I'm just going to ignore this person. He says it out loud.
Granted, it's a long setup, and you hear Brennan like, is there a question?
Because he knows where it goes. He knows where it's going.
Because the man is being isolated based on the person who's asking the question is well aware of the difference.
His name is Thomas Special. He is a former CIA guy and now an independent intel contractor.
So as he is setting up, as understanding the difference in what had gone on, when you had other people within the CIA said this was not according to how we normally do things, Brennan ordered this to occur on behalf of probably the president. And so the highest person still left out there whose tail is out in the wind is Brennan. Because Barack Obama's going to have immunity on this.
He's never getting touched.
He's going to be able to say, well, the intel that we had, I ordered another intel report. and that's an official act. And as we've seen from the Supreme Court, presidents, when they commit an official act, are not going to have to worry about ever seeing prosecution from that. But John Brennan ain't a president.
Yeah.
And he's the one who's hanging out there.
That's exactly
You can see how angry he gets when you isolated him by a guy who previously worked with the CIA who knew what he was talking about.
And then there's a little meet and greet afterwards, after this sit down, that this guy's already been like, hey, Brennan says I'm going to ignore him. Then this former CIA agent walks over to Brennan, asks him about the memo again, and then asks him about the 51 intel officers that signed off saying, that Trump could be a Russian agent. That's when John Brennan leans in and starts right in his chest, putting his finger right in his chest. You could just see him pointing, and he's so angry and furious, and then dismisses everything and walks off.
I think you have to when you're facing federal indictment and you know you've probably done something. I think it's the feeling of it's coming. And so you kind of go about your business hoping that it never does. So what happens when you sit down in an interview and a guy brings up exactly what you're worried about?
Yeah.
That's what that looked like to me.
It set him off.
Yeah.
It absolutely set him off. But you would have to think if he is going to be drug into court at some point or drug in to testify at some point, he's going to hire a lawyer if he doesn't already. I'm sure you know what? I tell you about. He probably already has.
Sure, he's lawyered up, yeah.
What lawyer is going to be like, dude, you handled that well.
Yeah.
You're putting us back on our heels to begin with.
Just so you know, this does not help.
Yeah, this doesn't help.
This interview does not help you.
You look guilty. Even if you weren't, which I believe he is. Even if he wasn't, he absolutely looks guilty in the way he handled the sit down, and then when he starts putting his finger into the former CIA agent's chest.
How dirty do you think of a business as this was, where out of political loyalty to Obama, based on what had been going on in this country, where, what was it? Nate Silver had it like 96% that Hillary Clinton's going to win.
Right.
By the time she doesn't, now it turns into, how do we protect our own power from this outsider? And he is a duly elected president. He's the president-elect. And yet you're using the power of government, including the CIA, to see what you can set up so that you can prosecute him and get him out of office.
Dirty, low down. I want to recap, just in case you missed it, why Brennan went off is because he knows the entire intel community lied about Trump, and we told you about the email that Brennan had sent out to make sure that everybody was on board with the new ICA, the Intel Community Assessment, and it came from Brennan, went to all the heads of Intel, and said, we need everybody on board. That meant the inclusion of the Steele dossier to get them to the conclusion that they wanted to get to. There was one holdout, General Clapper, who said, my team needs to review this. My team needs time to look through this. If we don't have the time, which Brennan had already said, we need to get it done now, then leave us out of the assessment. And that's exactly what happened. That was Clapper's CYA. He knew what was happening, and he knew he needed to protect himself. And now you're seeing the results of it. The walls are starting to cave in on John Brennan, and he is furious, and he doesn't know what to do because he knows what he did. He's in bad shape.
I like it.
Dude, it's funny to see.
This is how you go after the deep state.
Because they never thought in a million years, and I know this sounds like we're beating a dead horse, but they never thought Donald Trump would ever be back in office to make sure that this, or to expose this, if you will. He was never going to be back in office to expose.
And let's face it, by the time you get the next Republican president who's back with the establishment, they're not concerned about this anyway. And they're certainly not going to hire people for his Department of Justice, to here, go through the selection process. Oh, and by the way, let's do a good for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They didn't worry about it.
I mean,
they're in good shape.
His vice president turned on him.
They went so hard to cheat in 2020 to ensure that there's no way their crimes would ever see the light of day.
That's right.
And here they are.
Now they're in such a bad way. And even Van Jones at CNN, when asked, he was like, can you ask me about anything else? Because we're in a bad way.
In terms of Democrats and where they go from here, this last week we did see them some people try to protest during the president's address, and then House leadership getting onto them, other Democrats calling them out. They still seem to be wandering around trying to figure this out. What's your take?
Can we ask another question? Do I talk about my own party? Can we talk about Ukraine or something? No. Look, man, we're screwed. I mean, no Democrats don't know what to do. This is a nightmare. Somebody like Donald Trump, we thought we'd at least have Hakeem Jeffries in the speaker's chair to hold him back if we didn't have Kamala in there to do the right thing. Listen, the Democratic Party is going through a massive set of internal crises. You have a party that got trapped two ways. One, defending a broken status quo that nobody likes because they thought that Donald Trump was going to make it worse. But when you're defending the status quo, you're going to lose. And then offending most people in the country, calling everybody sexist and racist and transphobic and every other name, and then saying, please follow us. That's not a good strategy, folks. Defending a broken status quo and offending most of the country turns out is not as popular as my party thought it was going to be. And so
that's the jam right there. They thought it was going to be popular.
To defend the status quo.
And defend half the country. But I love what he said, the internal crisis. He said crises, but internal crisis, otherwise known as a civil war.
Yes. In fact, do we have time for Bill Maher?
Yeah.
All right, so here's Bill Maher. This is from his show on Friday, real time. And Bill Maher lays it out this is the difference between Democrats and the far left of the Democrats.
If we are ever going to get back to the old America, that's got to be the Democrats' part of the bargain. Stop coming up with radically new and often terrible ideas, and then in the next breath insist there be no debate about any of it. That if you don't see it right away and go along, you're bad, stupid, and deplorable. As if you were saying, duh, 2 + 2 = 5. Isn't that obvious? Yeah, it's obvious you can't add. You can't just say math is racist, queers for Palestine, looting is cool, healthy at any weight. If the men's football team played the women's team, it would be a tie. You can't just say
I love that he points out, he makes it a math thing. 2 + 2 = 5. Well, no, it doesn't. It's like, well, then math is racist.
That's right.
It's like their excuse is, let me add a but. I know it's wrong, but if you have a response to it, it's racist. It's very much the same idea as if I say there's two sexes, well, then you naturally have to call me transphobic.
Right. Yep.
I'm not transphobic. I don't care one way or another. Well, then you must be this. And it's always about creating you either accept my version or there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, you're one of these titles.
Which sounds really authoritarian.
Yes.
Right?
That's what they rally against while doing it.
It's very elitist in thinking. It's either my way or your way is wrong, and here's what's wrong with you. That's when you can't. When the argument is 2 + 2 = 5, well, then you're not winning the argument. So you just don't want to take part in the argument.
So you have the deflectors, right? You have the way to win the argument by, it's like the ultimate trump card, no pun intended.
So when Van Jones says we're screwed,
we are freaking screwed.
We're screwed. Here's what's happening. Bill Maher's like, we can't even get to 2 + 2 = 4.
Uh-huh. The sky's blue. No, it's not. And you're racist for thinking that.
Can't believe you even pondered that.
That's exactly
what is wrong with you.
They continue to do this stuff, and they continue to go further left. But that's the thing. The DSC, the Democrat Socialist of America, they've been plotting this takeover of the Democrat Party since 2012. We've told you about it over and over and over again. And now they finally succeeded, Los. It's happening.
Where it's right in front of us.
Yeah, you can't miss it. And if you do, you're racist.
Can't believe you noticed that, racist.
That's right. Or sexist or whatever else. All right, when we come back on Extra 106.3, the number of illegals the administration wants to send home next year. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to Extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, November 3rd. The Atlanta Falcons are now 3-5 on the season after a 24-23 loss in Foxborough to the New England Patriots. Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. threw 3 touchdown passes, all to receiver Drake London, but a missed extra point in the fourth quarter was the difference in the ball game. The Falcons will play the 7-2 Indianapolis Colts next Sunday. Week 9 in the NFL comes to a close tonight when the Dallas Cowboys host the Arizona Cardinals for Monday Night Football. The Cowboys are a small 3.5-point favorite for this game. Kickoff is set for 8:15. And the Trae Young-less Hawks dropped to 3-4 on the season after a 117-109 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road last night. The Hawks are off tonight before hosting the Orlando Magic on Tuesday. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
What's on your wish list? Trendy gold bracelet or a personal birthstone necklace? Guys, is it a bold new timepiece or a curb-link chain? How about a timeless pair of diamond studs you can upgrade for life? This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where since 1939, we've been helping Atlanta fill up their jewelry wish lists in a fun, laid-back atmosphere. Come try on, mix and match, or sit down with an expert custom designer and build the jewelry box of your dreams. No pressure. We have a trained staff of jewelers, not salespeople, to help you find the right fit for any style, any occasion, and any budget. Take one of our pillow cards with you to drop a hint, and we'll give your secret shopper 10% off your wish list just to say thanks for hanging out with us. You can even bring the card back and treat yourself. D. Geller & Son has Atlanta's best selection of fashion trends like stackable rings and gemstone necklaces, and the best value in staples like diamond studs and engagement rings. So come by D. Geller & Son in Kennesaw, Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
Affordable jewelry for everyone is at D. Geller & Son.
Thousands of veterans across Georgia are missing out on the benefits they've earned through their service. The Warrior Alliance is changing that by connecting veterans and their families to life-changing resources and support. Tune into the Warrior Alliance Network, our podcast and radio show dedicated to helping veterans succeed after service. Join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. on Talk Radio 106.3 to hear inspiring veteran stories, discover free programs, and learn about career opportunities available to you. Subscribe to the Warrior Alliance YouTube channel today.
This is Governor Brian Kemp. Georgians are used to affordable, reliable energy because of the good work of the Public Service Commission. As your commissioner, Tim Echols secured a 3-year Georgia Power rate freeze and made sure our state's growth isn't hitting your wallet. Tim's keeping rates down and money in your pocket and standing against the Democrats who want hardworking Georgians to pay over $800 more per year. Keep Tim Echols in the fight by voting early or on Election Day, November the 4th.
Georgians First Leadership Committee paid for this ad.
Fox on Film.
Paramount's Regretting You takes the top spot at the weekend box office with an estimated $8.1 million in North American ticket sales.
Where is Clara?
Hey, Aunt Jenny.
Hey, Claire Bear.
Guess who just spent the last half hour with the coolest guy in school?
Oh my God.
Don't tell my mom about this.
You know she gets. Yeah, no, of course I won't.
Universal's horror sequel Black Phone 2 coming in a close second place with $8 million in ticket sales, giving it a 3-week haul of $61.5 million domestically and $104.7 million globally.
It took me a long time, but you of all people know that dead is just a word.
Rounding out the top 3, Chainsaw Man with $6 million. Begonia finishes 4th with $4.8 million. And a nationwide re-release of Back to the Future pulling in $4.7 million to finish in 5th place. Paul Stevens, Fox News.
Fox on Tech.
A number of smart devices you may have at your home could end up not working in a couple of months. Tech manufacturer Belkin is shocking its wide customer base and announcing it will end support of its Wemo brand of smart light switches, electrical plugs, and even doorbell cams. An email sent to the customers who use the connected devices to manage part of their home's electrical use are being told that by the end of January, the Wemo service will end, the app will no longer function, and the devices themselves will be essentially useless or won't perform the tasks for which customers purchase them. Belkin apologizes, recognizing it's letting customers down, but is making little offers for make goods outside of providing a list of which of the affected devices could be used further by way of Apple's HomeKit, and suggesting that devices still under warranty could be eligible for partial refunds. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
political violence cannot stand. And Extra 1063 will continue on as the conservative voice of reason in Atlanta. We'll speak our mind, protect our values, and stand up for each other responsibly. Count on the Morning Extra, Glenn Beck, Clay and Buck, The Kimmer, and the legend Neil Bortz to always have your back. Proud to be the conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 1063 FM and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 1063. The polling remains positive in Donald Trump's effort to do exactly what he campaigned on, and that is get the illegals that flooded the country under the Biden administration out the door.
The numbers have been so consistent that I haven't seen a poll on this now in 2 months.
Yeah, they don't want to do it.
There's no reason to show you any longer.
That's right.
The polling data from January now until it was the first week in October was like one of the last times you saw a poll on this. Have not changed. 76% of all Americans, not Republican, Democrat, all Americans, independents, everybody, 76% of all Americans believe that if you've committed a crime in this country as an illegal, you should be sent out of here. Now, that's not counting coming across the border. That's just if you're here, you committed a crime, you're heading home. The next number, and this has been the more surprising one, 56% of all Americans have said that if you cross the border, you're here illegally, you need to go regardless. So, abuela, I'm sorry. You know, it's like, here's what it is. Everybody's got to go. Sure. 56% of Americans believe in this. So, when Tom Homan shows up on television to tell you about what the plans are with the administration, know that it doesn't matter what he says, it's a victory. All right? When you ever say, doesn't that seem a little mean? In fact, we'll be able to do it. We'll probably jump in more of it tomorrow when we get a chance to go through some of the 60 Minutes audio from Donald Trump.
Yep.
None of it was groundbreaking. None of it was surprising. It's typical of what you'd imagine. But when he was asked, do you think that some of this is cruel? He's like, no.
We need to do more.
We need to do more of this stuff. So here's Tom Homan. And Tom Homan announces that we're going to enhance the amount of people that are getting people out of here. And here's the number they're not putting on it.
We got to look for that 10.5 million illegal aliens that came across that border. We got to look, that's in addition to 15 million already here. So now the roles change. Now Border Patrol is backstopping ICE on the interior. It's working. Record numbers of removals, arrests. Right now we already have a record number, historic number of arrests and removals this fiscal year. And we'd bring on 10,000 more agents by mid-January. And we're going to blow this historic number out of the water next year. So everything's working good. It's still under the leadership of acting director Todd Lyons, under the leadership of Secretary Noem. The results speak for themselves. The agents out there doing what President Trump promised he'd do is make his country safe again.
The numbers are about, and this one Chrissy Noem as of yesterday, says we're about 2.2 that have self-deported. Now we're starting
Which nobody expected.
Nobody expected that many people to leave. But here's $1,000. Get on out. You can apply to get back in. If you do not, there's a moratorium. You may never be able to come back.
Right.
So he's talking about, and I think a lot of this is linked to, and we'll get into a little bit more of this data probably sometime during the week. It looks as if you had about 9 million Social Security numbers that were handed out to illegals. Now, some of those numbers were people that are dead. But the numbers were basically so they could have access to all of the things that typically Americans have access to if they have a particular claim. In this case, my injury is that I'm here illegally. So that's when he talks about the 10 million. We know it's probably at least 9. And then, as he says, there's probably 15 that were here already. So if you're enhancing 10,000 more agents.
See, that's what I wrote down too.
That's a big number. And I do believe that's going to have more of these incidents, and we're going to have more people that are going to be set out of the country. And you're going to continue to have the left go, well, what are you doing? It's like, we're getting rid of your power.
We're getting rid of your voters.
We're getting rid of your voters. We're getting rid of the people that you're able to build censuses with. And you know what? It's all legal. Every bit of it is. The laws are on the books.
So funny to see Kamala Harris freak out. Because she spoke about this over the weekend, about the redistricting. And she was like, those Republicans in those red states, and she named off a bunch. They're doing something that is illegal they shouldn't be able to do, and it's all about securing their power. And I couldn't help but think, you've been doing this for 50 years.
Yes.
Why do you all of a sudden have a problem with it? You should be like, yeah, they're doing exactly what we did. I understand what they're doing. Does it suck? Yes, it sucks. But they're doing exactly what we've been doing. If they were honest, they would say that. They're not, so they won't.
Again, the numbers across the board are in favor of actually speeding up more of these illegals being sent out of the country. And as much as you get the left complaining about how, well, and there was actually, it was a story I was reading over the weekend about this one was apprehended while he was headed to work. Well, he'd already had an order to leave for 3 years.
Yep.
And he'd been accused of rape.
There's been several of those where they're like, well, this is just regular everyday guy going to work. He's not doing anything wrong.
They grabbed him when he was getting into his truck and they
disappeared
him. Well, as Tom Homan's pointed out, because of what the Biden administration gave these people, they're not hard to track. They know where they're at.
And especially now with the data that they have that they didn't have before, because like the Social Security Administration wouldn't allow them access. Now that the Trump administration is in there, there was a lawsuit to try to stop it, but they won, and now they have all the data they need to go get people where they are.
They know where they're at.
Yeah. Which is crazy because they weren't supposed to have Social Security numbers.
Right. And to think the Biden administration knew where they were at as well. The most violent of them, they knew where they were at.
And still defend those. And they still defend those.
Because they were they're potential voters, and they were more power when it came to the House. It became another person living in a district.
All I need is the number. I don't care what they do while they're here. I don't care who they hurt. I don't care what goes on. We need that number. We welcome all.
And another issue of this, that when you realize what was going on within that administration, under the name of Joe Biden, Joe wasn't in charge.
Yeah, he had no idea.
Joe had no idea.
Not that he wouldn't have gone along with it, but he had no idea.
I think a lot of it was, had Joe known, I don't believe a lot of this was going to happen. I think when you were able to do it in somebody else's name, you could get away with it.
You're surely more free-wielding than
for instance,
would be.
When you committed a crime and you were ordered, well, you have been ordered to leave this country. What happens when that administration isn't enforcing any of that? There were no ICE members driving around looking for these people who'd been ordered to deport. So, yeah, you were going to, hey, we ordered him to leave. Did you enforce that? No, we depended on them to do it.
That's right. They're going to do the right thing. It's just like all the people that came over on some sort of amnesty and they have a court date 9 months from now.
There's another funny thing about amnesty, how the Biden administration expanded at least what they were able to try and claim.
Or I said amnesty, asylum. I'm sorry. Yes.
So when you claim asylum, obviously you're claiming religious persecution. You're claiming that your politics will get you murdered. Like that's part of that process. Now, there's a lot of white South Africans who have a pretty good argument over that. There's a lot of people that fled Venezuela who are capitalists that have a pretty good excuse over that. But what the Biden administration did, part of what they did was they expanded the idea of asylum to call it economic. You know, I'm not making anywhere near as much in my home country as I would make in yours. Well, come on in, brother.
Yeah, and it's crazy you bring that up. Yesterday at church, we're driving home. We listened to church on the way home, whereas we weren't able to go. We've been in the mountains. They brought up that exact same thing. They were talking about the difference in what the median household in America is. Let's say the average person makes about $50,000. Around the world, the median is about $6,000. So look how easy that argument would be to
make the claim that you need asylum based on economic persecution.
Yeah.
I only make $3 a day back home. I need in. That was the expansion under the Biden administration. And again, the more we look at all of this, the more egregious, the more ridiculous, the more silly. The power that Barack Obama had was he was able to, at least in the interest of his own reputation and his own legacy, I'm going to keep the left crazies at bay. I'll let them have some victories here and there, but I'm keeping them at bay. It was a free-for-all under Joe Biden because he wasn't in charge.
That's right. He had no idea. We can do it in his name. He'll get all the blame. He'll get kicked out. Well, we won't even support him.
And then we'll run him off.
That's right.
After we decided we've used him up.
That's right. We used him all we can, and then we're going to kick him out. God, so dirty and filthy. You have to laugh at it because if you don't, you'd be in tears about what's happening in your country. When we continue on Extra 106.3, the levels of fraud in the SNAP benefits is what dent the entire Democrat Party is built on. Next on Extra 106.3.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Okay, let's talk about things you cannot do unless you show a picture ID. Get a drink, buy tobacco products, vaping products, open a bank account or a credit line, apply for unemployment benefits, welfare, food stamps, board an airline flight, rent a house, buy a house, go get a hunting license or a fishing license, purchasing a firearm, apply for benefits like Social Security, food assistance, SNAP, Medicare. If you're stopped by the police, you have to show ID or they'll arrest you. Applying for a passport so you can travel internationally. All of these things and many, many more, you have to show proof of your identity. But with all of these things, there's one thing out there that Democrats will not tolerate. In the mind of the Democrat, you must not be required to show identification in order to register to vote. Not talking about actual voting, but registering to vote. There are lawsuits now in several states filed by Democrats challenging laws that people identify themselves before they can register to vote. Now, come on here. Why would Democrats be so upset at the idea that somebody ought to provide identification to register to vote? Simple, because they don't want any limitations on anybody voting. In fact, that 12-watt dim bulb, Kamala Harris, wants the voting age lowered to 16. Why no identification? Because the people that Democrats are going to rely on to get political power are not people who are going to readily have personal identification on them, especially if they happen to be in the country illegally. Think about it and then wonder why anybody would vote Democrat. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute. Nearly 2 decades after Jennifer Kessie vanished from her Orlando apartment complex, her family says they're feeling hopeful as state investigators re-examine key evidence in the case. Kessie was 24 years old when she disappeared January 24th, 2006. Her car was later found abandoned about a mile from her apartment with evidence that someone else had driven it. Surveillance video showed a person of interest walking away from the car, but it was grainy and the person was never identified. Despite early efforts by local law enforcement, leads dried up and the case became one of Florida's most enduring missing person mysteries. In the biggest development in the case in 2 decades, new DNA evidence has been found and is being tested for the very first time. Florida Department of Law Enforcement has also narrowed down its person of interest list to just a few people, and police have told Kessie's father that finally his missing daughter's case is no longer cold. There's more on this story at foxnews.com or subscribe to the Fox True Crime Podcast. I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Obama takes on Trump. I'm Therese Crowley, Fox News. With 3 local elections gaining national attention, Democrats trying to turn them into a referendum on Donald Trump. Former President Obama on the campaign trail in New Jersey and Virginia, claiming the country's in a pretty dark place right now. And in the New York City mayor's race, President Trump tells CBS 60 Minutes that if it's a choice between a bad Democrat and a communist, I'm going to pick the bad Democrat all the time. Election day tomorrow after a rousing weekend of early voting.
Voters in New Jersey and Virginia elect new governors on Tuesday, 2 races that have attracted National Party leaders to the campaign trail. Fox News polling last week shows Democrats in both races leading their Republican opponents. The economy, immigration, energy cost, and healthcare are dominant issues. New York City residents are also electing a new mayor in a race that has energized progressives. 34-year-old Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani holds a commanding double-digit lead in polling against former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who failed to win the Democratic nomination in this year's primary election. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Another weekend U.S. military strike on a narco-terror drug boat. Fox's Alexandria Hall.
Trump administration's position is that cartel strikes do not fall under the War Powers Resolution because troops are not being sent into hostilities. Within the resolution, hostilities is kind of vague. It's been interpreted differently in the past, but the action, it did kill 3 men who Secretary Hegseth described as narco-terrorists carrying illicit drugs to the U.S. He added a promise in his post. The department will treat them exactly how we treated al-Qaeda. We will continue to track them, map them, hunt them, and kill them.
Another controversial Trump policy hits the Supreme Court this week. The High Court hears oral arguments on whether President Trump had the power to impose sweeping global tariffs. President Trump tells reporters it's also national security.
We all know the importance of good daily habits, whether it's getting your steps in, stretching those limbs, or eating right. Doing it on the regular is key. That's why if you're dealing with everyday aches and pain, it's time to bring Relief Factor into your routine. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a special formula of 4 natural ingredients. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. So call 1-800-4-RELIEF and try their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Simply call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, don't let it keep you from living the life you want. Make Relief Factor part of your daily routine. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
The news and talk I can trust. Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. I didn't have a dog in the fight when it came to the World Series and actually went to bed early thinking that the Blue Jays were going to win it. Turns out they didn't. But Dre pointed out something to me, and I just pulled it up to look at it. If you look at the way that the Braves won the World Series when Freddie was still here, was at 21, and it was Dansby to Freddie. And then on Saturday night, it was whoever plays shortstop for the Dodgers to Freddie. He comes off the base, and it looks almost identical to the way he came off the base with the Braves. I mean, it's like a replay of the same exact play, winning both of them, and his reaction is dang near identical. It was pretty cool to see.
Good for him. He's got 3 World Series now.
Yeah, I know.
Which doesn't hurt with his career, where he'll have a down-the-road shot at a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But he's got... I mean, the numbers are falling off as they're supposed to at like 35, 36.
Older, yeah.
But, if you can, you always ask, and this is always kind of the criteria, if you don't have like the magic numbers, 500 homers, and again, like that's always kind of like the automatic. You have 500 homers, you're going in. All right, if you don't have the magic numbers, then were you ever the best player at your position and for how long? And I think he spent the early part of his career trying to get there, and he has spent probably from like 28 to 34 where he probably is there.
Yeah, no question. He's a ball player, man. And it breaks my heart to think that he'll go into the Hall of Fame if he is to get to that point, which I mean, got no reason to not think he won't. That he'll either go in with nothing on his hat or a LA logo on his hat versus a Braves A on his hat.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's a lot different. We're talking about 12 seasons as a Brave versus 4 as a Dodger. And if you want to solidify that, he's got a couple more years under contract. You bring him back at the end as a DH.
Yeah. No, look, I love
as
that.
a 37, 38-year-old DH.
Yeah. Let him have 1 year to retire with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, and I love it, but it's to win 2 World Series in that short amount of time. I mean, that's a pretty big deal for him.
By the way, he has 367 homers. It is not a problem to say if he plays, let's say 3 or 4 more years. He's going to get to the 400, over 400 mark. Now, is that 500? No, of course not. But that's where you start looking at Gold Glove, multi-champion, 400-plus homers.
Yeah.
That's going to have you in the discussion.
Yeah, no question about it, man. Good on Freddie Freeman. Good for Freddie Freeman. Like I said, I didn't have a dog in the fight, but I was kind of cheering for the Blue Jays, if I'm being completely honest. I was kind of cheering for the Blue Jays. And nothing doing. Over the weekend, some great football. Obviously, with Georgia getting their come-from-behind victory. And Georgia Tech actually taking a loss, but they're going to be just fine when it comes down the stretch to get into that ACC championship and probably play Virginia and probably win that, I would imagine, because I think Georgia Tech's the better team if you're asking about Tech and Virginia. Haynes King, being the road warrior he is, will carry them to a victory there, I believe, and that probably will get them in the college football playoff, Los.
Yeah, if you are able to get there, and you can even get there with 2 losses. Mm-hmm. As much as Georgia Tech does not want to have a situation happen with Georgia, could they both knock each other out? Yeah. Do I believe that there's going to be another trip up on the Tech schedule? I mean, it's a possibility, but
doesn't seem as likely.
Doesn't seem as likely. If you can get through Georgia, whether even if you get beat, you can still go in as, if you win the ACC championship, as an 11-2 ACC champion. You're going to the playoff.
Yeah, there you go. Magical season would continue for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, where you can always hear it down the hall on our sister station, The Fan, 680 93.7 FM. Tug and Los until 10. Anytime the government is involved in a big, big program, and anytime the federal government is involved, it's always a big program. It's big money. And we learn about fraud over and over and over again. USAID became a fraud machine. That's why it went away under Donald Trump. One of the first things he did. SNAP. I want it to be a hand up, not a hand out. I don't believe it should be a permanent thing. You shouldn't live on SNAP. Knowing the size of that program, you know it's rife with fraud. It has to be.
It has to be. I saw a video of a woman who had been on SNAP benefits for 30 years. And to hear her talk about what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks, I was like, okay, you had 30 years. I also saw the video, and these were of people, and this, credit to Jure. Jure was the first person to talk about this, especially in this marketplace. He said, watch what happens with the retail stores, the retail outlets where they cater to SNAP, basically EBT. And he said, look what happens with Walmart, who has a large amount of the shoppers that are there, especially during the daytime shoppers. This is what they're using. And there were videos over the weekend where there were people talking about, there's no $1,000 carts in here right now. I was like, well, what do you mean $1,000 carts? Because when they get the benefits, and I looked into it, family of 4, maximum is $994 a month, which I started doing the math with worth in comparison to like our shopping list in our home. That on the regular is a bare minimum of 30% more than we spend on groceries. So what are they doing? They're overloading their shopping carts with just this crazy amount of stuff. And so the other shoppers who are paying cash, they're looking at the store shelves going like, what is this? Like, why are all the Fruit Loops gone? Well, they had $1,000 to spend, and another $1,000 will be next month, and another $1,000 will be the next month. So I want to play you. This ends up being Brooke Collins, Agriculture Secretary, and she lined out what this administration did. They said, we want the SNAP data from every state in the union, and she's going to tell you how the states reacted to that.
Day one of USDA, February 13th, is we sent letters to every governor in America being very clear that no illegal aliens can use SNAP. 0, 0, 0. We asked every state for the first time in history, and this was in February, to send us their data and let us, with DOJ and a war room, actually start going through this data to better understand how this explosion of SNAP benefits happened under Joe Biden. We increased almost 40% on this program in just a couple of years under the Biden administration. Of course, we know they were trying to buy the election, but that's a conversation for another time. And since we have asked for that data, 29 states have complied. Of course, almost all the red states, a couple of the couple blue states too. But in that data, and I haven't talked about this yet publicly, in that data we've studied about $100 billion in spend. We have found thousands and thousands of illegal use of the EBT card. We have been moving people off of SNAP. We've got almost 700,000 people, I think, we've moved off just since the president took office. We've arrested about 118 people. So this has been ongoing. But, Rachel, to your point, what this conversation has allowed is a national spotlight on a broken and corrupt program. We found one guy in 6 different states getting a benefit. We found about 5,000 people that are dead who are still getting benefits. Like, it is time to drastically reform this program so that we can make sure that those who are truly needy, truly vulnerable, are getting what they need, and the rest of the corruption goes away and we can serve the American taxpayer.
So there's 2 things at play here. One, you have 21 states that are blue states that don't want this data out there because this is a fraudulent system, in which case they can keep people in their state and they won't go home to wherever they're from because they keep drawing money. The other part is, if you happen to shop, our friend Stephanie, 4-Hour Stephanie, if you happen to shop in an area where your stores are still packed up, you know that your community is probably a little bit better off than some of the other ones where suddenly people aren't shopping any longer. Where suddenly, why are all the shelves still full? Why are there not a lot of people here? Well, your community probably isn't having to use EBT and SNAP benefits in the same way some of the others are.
And supply and demand kicks in, so the supply is still there because the demand is not coming through the door.
And there's another argument to be made there. When you talk about the cost of goods, what happens when they're being artificially pumped up or held on the level by our tax dollars going to American citizens that are buying up, in this case, I love using it, the Fruit Loops? Shouldn't Fruit Loops come down another 30, 40 cents because they're sitting on the shelves? Well, no, the EBT users are buying up all the Fruit Loops with your tax dollars. Whereas if they were sitting on the store shelves, you would think, if I'm looking to pay cash for my Fruit Loops, the price comes down because the demand isn't there.
Yeah, the demand went down. It's funny you bring up the states that that said, no, we're not going to give this information because they know that the fraud will be uncovered. That's the worst part of it. They won't share it because they know the fraud will be uncovered, and they don't want that to happen. 2 states sued to not just because the federal government asked them. They sued. You're talking about a waving red flag of guilt.
What do you mean you're suing us because we asked you for data?
Dude, it's unreal. That is unreal. She said we got one guy collecting benefits in 6 different states. That's a racket. It's such a racket, and it's so damaging to everyday Americans going to the grocery store that are paying out of their own pocket. Supply and demand causes it to go up, and this dude is making a lot of demand.
All right, so here's the other end of that. When it comes to, as I said, people that are drawing benefits that are dead. All right, those benefits are going, somebody else is collecting on them, just like this person in the 6 different states. Now, you're saying, well, that's a whole lot of Fruit Loops. It's not doing Fruit Loops. What they're doing is, I'm going to draw $2,000 worth of SNAP benefits, and I'll sell it to you for $500 or $1,000 bucks.
That's right.
And so you have
a black market and underbelly.
You have a black market underbelly that's been caused. So it's not just that there are people that are upset about SNAP benefits and, hey, they're drying up. We got to get this government opened up. There's also the people that have benefited from, I'm going to hand this person $500 to get back $1,000 in SNAP benefits. Now I go do the $1,000 cart of food, and it only costs me $500. I'm winning. That person gets the $500. It's basically now free and clear, and now they can use it wherever they want.
Dude, talking about a successful scam.
It's a scam.
How in the world do I get involved in that scam? Because that is a win. You are completely insulated from anything that happens in America because you don't have to deal with it.
Imagine if somebody was to have, let's say, $1,000 in gift cards, and all they want is $250 for them. You'd be crazy not to be like, I'll take the $1,000. Here's your $250. Use it wherever you want. Now I'm tied into, let's say, using it at a grocery store and Best Buy. Okay, I can find a way to do it.
Or you just take them to the internet and sell them there and resell them.
Yeah.
You don't want the Best Buy one? Then you can sell them. There's websites dedicated to selling gift cards that you don't want, and it costs about $5 to do that. So if you got a $250 gift card and it's from Best Buy, and you don't need anything from Best Buy.
We get my 245, 200.
Exactly right, dude. You still are making out.
Yeah.
The Democrats have set up a black market that is on the backs of everyday Americans. It's on your back because they take that money out of your check whether you want them to or not. And this is not going away anytime soon.
The joke of all of this, Democrats always want to tell you about black markets for ghost guns. We have these issues when it comes to, look what's being traded out there. We create this. This isn't a matter of, hey, Los gives fentanyl to the community. Los brings in cocaine. You know what I do? I go to work, and then I pay taxes, and that's created a black market. The Democrats have essentially created a fraudulent system, and they won't. It's one thing if we could say both sides of it. Oh, they created this system. Yeah, fine. I know one side's trying to clean it up, and the other side has zero interest.
Is suing to stop it.
As I pointed out, 29 red states were like, here's the data. 21 blue states were like, we're suing.
Don't you dare.
Don't you dare try and get into the system.
Remember how hard they fought against USAID going away? Remember they had the Democrats and the government workers standing out in front with their pitchforks?
There'll be 50,000 people dead.
We've yet to see that.
Well,
but that was their claim, like it's the claim now.
They should have masked up.
They should absolutely should have got their shots.
They should have masked up and stayed 6 feet away from each other. Now that USAID is gone, or at least greatly reduced.
It's not our fault. We can't help it. And that's the thing that bothers me the most, is that you have no control over it. I have no control over it. Those tax dollars are going to be taken out of my check. The one that I came to work for, the one that you are going to work for this morning, and you have no ability to even question it. The Democrats are suing not to give the information to keep this scam going, and you can't sue to say, hey, I don't want to fund this. This is coming out of my check. I don't want to fund this. Can you imagine if there was an ability to sue? If we had the ability as taxpayers to be like, I want to sue. I want to stop this from coming out of my check. That would be wonderful. But you're handcuffed. You have no choice but to fund the fraud.
I like that there are people that will make the legal argument that there is no law that requires you to pay income taxes or taxes. And I will just say there's been a long history of people that go to prison
absolutely
for not paying their taxes.
Al Capone.
All right. There's a lot of tax fraud. People have gone to prison. So I will continue partaking in this game of going, here's my check. All right. Here's my check. I'll see you in April.
And I'll be pissed about it.
Always.
That's the thing. I'm going to be furious about it. And you want to know why I will never, I've never voted for a Democrat anyway, but why I would never? Because of this. This is exactly why. The fraud, the waste, the abuse of you and your money, me and my money. And I don't make enough to support everybody.
No.
Yet I'm made to.
But I'm made to. It's like, we got to get at your money.
Yeah.
We got to get at your capital gains. We got to get everything in like, oh.
But that's the thing. They're going to be like, you don't care about people? Of course I care about people. But I actually care about my family too. I would like to be able to take care of them. I would like to be able to have my son leave school with no college debt.
That'll be the next 24, 48 hours. What do you mean the Republicans won't end up having a discussion about reopening the government? Don't you know all these people that are running out of SNAP benefits?
The ones that are making better than you are by working the system? Oh, man. It's so frustrating. Because this is where people that do care, that want to give people a hand up, they're like, I'm done with it all. That when you push people so far, they're just like, I'm out. I don't care. I'm done caring.
I said this during the Biden administration. Once everything went down the way it did in January 6th, and I felt like the entire thing was a total cheat, I was like, I'm checking myself out of this. Like, what do you mean? I go, I'm insulating myself against anything that can possibly be done.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with the federal government or any
that's
government.
What I made sure to do.
I want to be able to take care of everything on my own, minus any help from any type of government, because I don't believe in them. And I know that they will screw me at every opportunity. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert. 770-GET-HEAT. CentralHeat.com is their website. When you call, you will speak to a person. You will not go to automation. Test it out. 770-GET-HEAT. When we come back, Gavin Newsom is self-loathing, so he says. Next on Extra.
Did you miss Neil Bortz?
I am shocked.
Don't worry. He's live anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Oh, that radio show.
Did traffic cause you to miss some of the Kimmer Show? Get it on the app.
It's all the kids talk about on Monday at school.
With anytime show replays from the Kimmer, Bortz, the Morning Extra, Clay and Buck, and so much more. Plus local headlines and breaking news. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Hey, this is Tom Mitchell, the Honest Car Guy. So things are deceiving sometimes, and it's hard to explain how much money I can really save you. I've saved people upwards of $20,000 and $30,000. I mean, it really depends on the year, the make, the model of the car, and the price of the car. You know, on a $15,000 car, I can't save you $20,000. I mean, let's be realistic. We can probably save you $2,000 or $3,000, but it's through the course of the whole sale. The big one here that people don't realize, the financing. You go into the dealership, they tell you your rate's 9%, or really it's probably 7% because they're allowed to make 2 points on there. We found a better way for customers to buy a car, an honest way, a very transparent way. You pay what we pay plus our honest fee. We even prove it to you by giving you a copy of the bill of sale at the end of the deal. So the beauty of what we do is we don't put you on a car that we have to sell. We put you on a car that you want. And at the Honest Car Guy, you'll save an average of $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the price of the car. Call 1-844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Big moments deserve big-time craftsmanship. At Solomon Brothers Jewelers, we've been family-owned and operated since 1982 because we know what it means to show up when it counts. Jaron Solomon here, and that's why we're proud to be an official Tacori jeweler. Each Tacori ring is handcrafted in California, going through 20 elite artisans before it hits your hands. Not mass-produced, not generic, always personal. And with Solomon Brothers, you get lifetime cleanings, unbeatable financing, and the largest Tacori selection in Georgia. Stop by a store in Buckhead, Alpharetta, or Sharpsburg. Visit SolomonBrothers.com to book your private appointment. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, where love is in the details and legends are built to last. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, proud partner of the Georgia Bulldogs and official jeweler of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Join Daniel Madelon, CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds, and co-host Tug Cowart as they bring together law enforcement, justice insiders, and voices from every part of the justice system, victims, advocates, and people who've turned their lives around. It's not PR, it's not fluff. It's an honest talk about what's working, what's broken, and how to build a better path forward, one second chance at a time. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. or listen to the podcast anywhere. Justice Unfiltered. Unfiltered, informed, and unbiased.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
Go beyond just a baseball game with your Atlanta Braves and check out Truist Park's Ballpark Tour. See the ballpark like never before and explore the franchise's rich history with artifacts, exhibits, and more, led by tour guides who will take you to places behind the scenes that most fans have never seen before, including the press box, premium club spaces, and of course, step onto the field where your favorite Braves players battle it out during the season. And each tour comes with a complimentary player chain necklace. Visit Braves.com/tours to purchase your tickets today. And did you know Truist Park can host your next event? As a year-round facility, we host private events ranging from corporate meetings, trade shows, team building events, holiday parties, rehearsal dinners, you name it, Truist Park can host it. Visit Braves.com/events to get started on creating an experience like never before with one of Truist Park's unique venues. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves country.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Monday, November 3rd. 3 suspects were arrested as part of a drug trafficking investigation linked to a major Mexican cartel. The GBI says they executed 5 search warrants last week in Atlanta, Sandy Springs, and Woodstock. Authorities seized more than 500 pounds of marijuana, along with 9 firearms in the operation. All 3 men arrested are charged with racketeering and conspiracy to violate Georgia's Controlled Substances Act. The Atlanta DreamHack Gaming Festival had to hit pause over the weekend. A suspicious package prompted evacuations early Sunday morning. The GBI bomb squad cleared the item after a K-9 unit alerted on the package. The festival resumed after the all-clear was given. And a Cobb County nonprofit Community Family Resources launched its 2025 Thanks for Giving program on November 1st to feed 1,000 families during the week of Thanksgiving. The drive seeks donations across the county and highlights a community-wide effort to address hunger ahead of the holidays and during the government shutdown. Today's weather partly cloudy with highs in the mid-60s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Self-loathing. The most popular reference of that in the movie, I think, is Jim Carrey and How the Grinch Stole Christmas when he was like, self-loathing. You know, he's in his cave and he's talking about how much he hates himself. And it reminded me this weekend of Gavin Newsom. He must have an incredible amount of self-loathing going on because he told Kristen Welker on NBC that Biden's mental acuity was just fine, didn't see anything. And then he went on to say, well, I hate lying politicians.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
And this is important because I'm trying to take a step back myself here. Do we notice what we notice because of X being the most popular news site in the world, or is it because we constantly pay attention to it? Because I think it's much harder to be a politician who's playing both sides, lying on both ends right now because the videos come out so quickly that people see them.
Right, and we're about to play you this audio so you can hear it for yourself. I don't know. I think X makes it certainly easier. But, I mean, I've kept up always. You've kept up always. I've always been very suspicious of the mainstream media. When I would go to every channel and they always said the same thing, I was like, something about this doesn't feel right.
Because I remember Gavin Newsom during the height of the Palisades fires. It was a local NBC affiliate that was interviewing him, and he's there on the street, and he's trying to act like he's in charge as there's a house burning behind him. So some of this is like the visual. And they're asking him about the lack of water, and he doesn't have an explanation for it. And in his mind, it's, well, this is the local NBC affiliate. This will just go away.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It was all over everywhere within an hour, so that you had Americans across the country were saying, where are the water reserves? Like, aren't you supposed to have water reserves? Like how do you not have any water to fight this thing? And he didn't have an answer for it.
And it was able to show you and show everybody.
Incompetence.
It's exactly right. It puts it on a huge projector screen so everybody that chooses to see it can. Miss Peg, Aunt Peg, she is not going out looking for it. She doesn't want to know the truth. She would rather be led around by her nose. She would rather say, oh, that's the person I agree with, and that's the last thing she hears about.
Because I feel like when I listen to podcasts and when I watch broadcasts, you know, whether it happens to be when we put it on MSNBC or when I get like the latest of Jessica Tarlov, I go, I heard what she said and I know where that came from because I saw the same video and I know the same, what she's basically touting. And so I think all of us, at least who do this work, are all going to the same areas looking for data. And then it helps create an argument. I wonder about what happens when you are the Aunt Pegs of the world and you don't want unfiltered data. You're just like, please, Rachel Maddow, hook it into my veins and tell me what to think.
Well, she doesn't want to argue either. She wants to shout her points that she's gotten from Kristen Welker or whomever, and then expects you to stand down because she's already told you what is and is not. You know what I mean? She feels like because everybody says it.
I was told by an authoritarian on the matter.
ABC told me, NBC told me, CBS told me, CNN told me, everybody told me. I've got it from experts in the field. You've got nothing, you and your little Twitter. What is that?
Like I would ask you, like on MSNBC, Morning Joe just finished off an analysis of the Department of Justice under Donald Trump. Do we really want to make a comparison to the last one?
I think we should. I think we absolutely can make a great argument. Now, Aunt Peg's not going to listen. It ain't going to matter.
Where you had federal judges appointed under Obama that were in cahoots, reportedly, with Jack Smith for Arctic Frost to give them all of the leeway they wanted to spy on Americans in Congress, congressmen and senators. So let's not make this comparison between the two, but it really comes back to We have that data. We talk about this. So a guy like Gavin Newsom can say, hey, I really don't like when politicians do this.
I don't like when politicians lie. Listen to this.
Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you. And we all just sit there rolling our eyes going, give me a break.
Did you legitimately believe that he was capable of serving as president until January of 2029?
Yeah, I think my focus was frankly situational. It was making sure Donald Trump didn't get back into office to experience everything that we're experiencing today. And there was no interaction I had that suggested otherwise.
What do you say to Americans who feel misled by you and other top
misled
Democrats
in what respect? He decided to step
about the
down.
mental acuity of President Biden, that they wish you'd sounded the alarm sooner to give way for an open convention?
I'm not going to substitute myself for someone else or for popular opinion. I'm going to express my relationship to my truth with the president.
See, there we go. That's exactly, that is the most leftist thing you can possibly say. Well, he was fine. That's my truth.
That's my truth.
No, how about the truth? He wasn't fine and you knew it.
Even a non-politician like George Clooney, who then wrote the op-ed about we need somebody else. It's like he saw it up close. He's like, this guy can't function. This guy
you're telling me the governor
of California was like, I never saw a thing.
Man, every time I dealt with him, it was just fine. Everything was good.
As the governor of California and one of the leading leftists out there, you're telling me no one ever spoke to you and said, man, he's out to lunch. This is cadaver. This is a problem. No one ever told this to you.
Never
one ever said.
Jake Tapper never brought it up. You know, because, I mean, he never saw it until later when he could write a book and make some money.
Because that's the problem with people like, Karine Jean-Pierre, who are running around being like, I didn't see anything. I'm like, you must be an idiot.
She's still defending.
Because
that's what her book is, though. It's not like she can leave. It's not like she can change her opinion.
Her book is about, didn't see anything.
That's right.
Were your eyes closed?
Yes.
Like, I saw him wander off a multitude of times on live television. I saw all the earmarks based on what doctors had told me about that guy has dementia. Look at how he's moving. Look at the motor skills. Look what's happening there. And so to have a person like Gavin Newsom, who initially said, no, I thought he was fine, the backlash started where Gavin Newsom then was being called an idiot. And now he's changed it to, well,
that's my truth.
That's my truth. And I'm talking about situation as long as it's not Donald Trump. Oh, so in the interest of the security and safety of America, the prominence of America, the success of America, it is better to have someone with dementia and cancer who cannot function in office, where we have unelected officials who are running everything with an auto pen, than to have an actual leader.
But for him, it actually worked better having the auto pen and having Barack Obama and people like that in charge, because it goes in line with his politics.
But that's his general argument.
No, I know that. And he's just fine with it. He was just fine with that, which is his truth.
Because I will tell you, with my truth, I'm liking having an actual leader in office. Somebody who makes the hard decisions.
Somebody that's making the world safer, the country safer, making hard. You're right. These decisions are hard. And I don't think people appreciate some of the pressure that goes along with making these tough choices. I don't think people appreciate the fact that these difficult choices are something that you have to weigh out. Man, I am going to catch backlash on this really bad from whatever segment of the population, but it's the right thing to do, so I'm going to do it anyway.
I mean, let's just take the Iran strike as an example.
That's a great one.
If you're in a scenario of thinking, if this doesn't go well, if the Israeli commandos on the ground and all the work that's being done, if we don't hit these nuclear sites, or let's just say we do, but at the same time, we end up downing some American aircraft there. Now I'm in a hostage scenario with Iran and the mullahs. I mean, these are the calculus you're going through.
Absolutely.
And you're playing these games. There's so much of the tariff policy, which again is now being debated again because apparently, he's just making tariff policy. Tariff policy is what has enabled us to create peace and stability around the world right now, because we can influence the economic scenario of what's happening there. That is the idea of having the national security aspect of this. That's important. That's what's getting peace around the world done. And I think the only people that would be complaining about it are those that either want the power or want to make sure that the military-industrial complex is still having its coffers filled.
Man, when you talk about just the situational stuff, just think about purely the flights in. The amount of time that the pilots were in the
enemy
air.
airspace.
Dude, that alone was a huge risk.
That's what you weigh.
It's absolutely every day, because if, let's say, one of them got shot down, that would have been the worst thing that could have happened in Donald Trump's presidency, because they would have said, see, we told you. Yeah. He had no idea. Thank God it didn't happen that way.
That's what you weigh.
Every time.
That's
the actual
job.
truth.
Now, by the way, that's the part of the job that there was no way that you could have somebody who's not functioning cognitively at a high level could ever handle. And so Gavin Newsom is telling me, situationally, he'd rather have someone who is unable to function as the executive of the country than to have Donald Trump. Somebody who cannot weigh the consequences, who's asleep by 7 o'clock.
Goodness.
All right, who can't function after 4 o'clock. They had to cut off all media access. That was routine. Somebody who cannot function into the evening when stuff might be happening, that was better situationally than Donald Trump. Good luck with that, Gavin Newsom.
37 hours. That was the flight time. That could, anything
could go wrong.
And that was the decision that was made. Gosh, insane. Absolutely.
But I bring up that scenario. To me, that is first and foremost the hardest thing you have to do as a chief executive is put people in harm's way.
Right, knowing that there's a possibility.
Knowing there's a possibility you could have an international incident.
Maybe it's the tiniest of percentages that something could go wrong, which in that case, I bet the percentages was much higher than you would expect. But that's the type of decision making that an executive like Los is saying makes. And God, I'm glad he did it. And I was nervous, man. Leading up to that week, I was nervous about it. I was like, Well, I felt like it was coming, but I was so nervous about it.
You were talking about, and every single time we've had some of this stuff, when the Navy moves into position into certain areas, whether it's been into the Mediterranean to aid Israel, whether it's been moving into the Persian Gulf to support an operation, whether it's moving into the Indian Ocean and making it a point to let the Chinese know we're out here, you know this from being in the Navy for years.
Just like the carrier group that has been deployed to the Caribbean right now.
And why are they there?
Buddy, I know they're blowing up drug ships. This is a bigger operation. And I don't know what it is, but you did hear, and this is something, and we'll maybe get to tomorrow as well or the next day. Donald Trump did say that Maduro wouldn't be in power long last night on 60 Minutes. There's a whole carrier battle group down in the Caribbean. You have to think that Donald Trump was alluding to that. I mean, how could you not?
You can look at that country and take a look at what it was 15, 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh, when it was the most wealthy aside from the United States.
Because of all the resources and what it is now. And you can't tell me, because I know it only benefits the party, it only benefits the person at the top. You can't tell me that's better for the world.
Of course it's
and
not.
For this region of the world.
To go from extreme wealth to extreme poverty?
All because of politics.
Well, socialist politics.
Communist
politics. The ones that they're about to try out in New York City.
I know it's been quite a while since we had former Atlanta Braves center fielder Ender Inciarte here. He was one of those first people that's like, look what's happening in my country.
Yeah.
He was sounding the alarm a decade ago about we're going the wrong way. It's like, I got to get my family out of there.
That's why you see so many people from South America that speak out loudly against socialism in the United States. We ran from that. Please don't do it here.
Go make a Cuban friend and ask him what they think about socialism.
Dude, we can bring my buddy Mike Macho, or all of our buddy Mike Macho on. He could give you a rundown of that. His family escaped from it. And he's been working in broadcast radio here in town for a really long time. When we come back on Extra 106.3, the Civil War inside the Democrat Party. Next on Extra 106.3.
The Morning Extra on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3 FM.
Good morning, it's Los. Let's talk about Howard Brothers, because for over 70 years, Howard Brothers has been helping Georgia get the job done right. From outdoor power equipment and hardware to services and repairs, they've got the brands you trust and the people who know their stuff. They have employees who have been there 10, 20, 30 years. So when it comes to expertise, whether it's just for you as a homeowner like me, or if you're a pro, you want to know what the newest line of equipment that's coming out, hey, they can help you out with that, with your projects, with your business. Howard Brothers is your local partner with quality, honesty, and experience, with locations across North Georgia. Stop by today or visit howardbrothers.com and see why the grass is always greener when you take care of it with Howard Brothers.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, November 3rd. The Atlanta Falcons are now 3-5 on the season after a 24-23 loss in Foxborough to the New England Patriots. Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. threw 3 touchdown passes, all to receiver Drake London, but a missed extra point in the fourth quarter was the difference in the ball game. The Falcons will play the 7-2 Indianapolis Colts next Sunday. Week 9 in the NFL comes to a close tonight when the Dallas Cowboys host the Arizona Cardinals for Monday Night Football. The Cowboys are a small 3.5-point favorite for this game. Kickoff is set for 8:15. And the Trae Young-less Hawks dropped to 3-4 on the season after a 117-109 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road last night. The Hawks are off tonight before hosting the Orlando Magic on Tuesday. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
The hot summer's winding down and the wet fall is approaching. It's time to get your Mercedes-Benz running in tip-top shape. Meet the RBM of Atlanta Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for those services. And once the services have been complete, we'll bring your Mercedes-Benz back to you. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2025 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience. And we're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor at RBM of Atlanta for details.
Attention extra listeners. The end of the year is closing in. Are your retirement plans ready? We at Master Plan Retirement Consultants are holistic retirement planners, including income and growth planning, tax strategies, and estate and legacy planning. Each piece of the retirement puzzle must fit together cohesively because we know a change in one area can inevitably affect the others. Our boutique team serves you with fiduciary care, ensuring every step moves you closer to a confident, sustainable retirement. Don't wait. There's still time to adjust your plan before year end. Schedule your complimentary consultation now at masterplanretire.com. Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
It's Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers. In Atlanta, I'm going to be that guy and start talking about Christmas before the leaves are even done falling. Why? Because I want to share some seriously special gift ideas with you, and you should start thinking about them now. This season, D. Geller & Son is all about the magic of custom, personalized jewelry gifts. Something designed exclusively for your loved one that's as unique as them. We've been creating lifelong memories since 1939, and now you can create them right along with us. Whether it's a custom birthstone necklace and earring set, or that one-of-a-kind dream-worthy ring, with your sentiment and our expertise, we can make it happen. Why design it with D. Geller & Son? We're the experts. Add unbeatable value and the absolute best quality, and you have a memorable gift that'll last a lifetime. So let's make it personal. With your vision and our craftsmanship, let's plan ahead and make this holiday season unforgettable at D. Geller & Son Jewelers in Kennesaw, Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
Affordable jewelry for everyone is at D. Geller & Son.
Brain-dead liberals are saying if they disagree with you, that gives them a legitimate reason to take violent actions against you.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra, an extra 106.3. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta Carrier experts. Call Chuck and his team at 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. Right now, you get 2 offers. You don't get to choose. You don't have to choose. It is 2 offers. It is up to $2,100 in rebates and 60 months, 0% financing with approved credit. You get both. Go to centralheat.com.
Been running that furnace.
Buddy, I'm telling you. It got turned on this weekend.
Finally had to turn it on.
Buddy. And it always, and I've asked Chuck about this a few times, like, why, as soon as you flip it on, what is that? It smells like the house is going to burn down. And he's like, it's all the stuff that's been put through your system, man. It can be, it sounds gross, but it can be dead skin. It can be just anything that gets sucked back through that system.
Well, we've changed.
And then you heat it up.
And then you heat it up.
And then it's like, what is that stench?
Dog hair.
Yeah. Yes.
All
absolutely right. 100%.
Sock lint.
All of it. Anything that floats around in your home.
That's why I change those filters.
Yeah, you have to.
Like every 3 months, I'm like, making the move.
With regularity. You got to change those things out. But 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com is the website. Those, we talked about it a lot this morning. But we're not the only ones talking about the Civil War in the Democrat Party.
This is Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary. And Scott Bessent, I love when they turn him loose. It's always there's good news or you want to take a lap on the economy. It's like you send out Scott Bessent. Send him to CNN. By the way, send him to the most unfriendly places. Don't send him to Fox News. Don't send him to anyone that's going to be friendly. Send him to where he's going to put stuff in people's face. CBS Face the Nation versus Scott Bessent. CNN versus Scott Bessent. MSNBC, I don't even think they would take Scott Bessent. Like, no.
We're not having him on.
It's like we're just not going to have him. He's going to beat us up way too much. That's what we're going to do. But I'm just glad. I don't know if you remember the interview we did when it was Dr. Rich and Tom Emmer, and I talked about the Civil War on the Democrat side. And they were not at that point of calling it yet. I've said how there's a civil war going on in the Democrat Party, and it's between those in the establishment and then the far leftist loons. Now, let's also point this out. 2020, the far leftist loons were useful for the Democrat Party because during COVID, when cities were burning down, the Democrats were the beneficiaries of saying, hey, we'll fix it, we'll straighten it out. It was their attack dogs that were causing all the problem. That created the chaos.
Reel them back in a little bit.
That allowed them to do what they were going to do in 2020. But here's the problem. You can't put the rabid dog back on the leash.
Or the toothpaste back in the tube.
It doesn't work. So now you're in this civil war on your side of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries trying to appease the rabid dog with their establishment policies. And the only thing that's creating any excitement on the left is the rabid dog. So I want you to listen to Scott Bessent as he lays this out for the CNN audience so that they understand what's going on.
President Trump just truthed out that he needs to hear from the courts how this is going to be done. And Jake, as you know, the best way for SNAP benefits to get paid is for 5 Democrats to cross the aisle and reopen the government.
Right, but there is this contingency fund, and as recently as September 30th, the Agricultural Department had a memo saying that these funds, the contingency funds, I think it's about $5 or $6 billion, could be used to pay these benefits. Now, it would only be 2 or 3 weeks, but that's a lot for people who need the food.
Well, President Trump just, as I said, President Trump just truthed out that he's very anxious to get this done, and it's got to go through the courts. The courts keep jamming up things. Democrats are in the middle of a civil war, and they should just open the government. That is the easiest way to do this.
I love that he points it out. Well, listen, it's the easiest way, but the Democrats are busy in a civil war.
They don't got time, man. They're fighting amongst each other. They can't do what's best for the American people. They're busy fighting each other.
And I like that Scott Bessent is pointing out, listen, the courts fight us on all this all the time.
Right.
It's like the easiest way is just 5 of y'all come over here.
And everybody knows that's the answer. That's why the polling remains solid and in the positive for Republicans in this situation, because everybody looks at it and knows. You can't hide it.
CNN with Harry Enton last week, if you missed it on Friday, Republicans were a +8 in terms of their favorability within the House. When it came to independents, they looked at Republicans as +11.
They're doing better with independents than their own party because everybody can see the sheen that the Democrats are putting up. They can see right through this lying mess that they've created, and they continue to stir up and say, well, it's the Republicans. It's the Republicans. No, we know. They've already got every vote that they have. They need you.
So the problem ends up being this. A guy like John Fetterman, the Fetterman weather vane, right? He sits on top of your house. He shows you which way the wind's blowing. It's like, that's the Fetterman weather vane.
Yep.
John Fetterman continues to say, this is a Democrat problem.
Just own it. It's yours.
Why don't? And he's already said, it's me, it's three others. We're voting this way. So they're able to do that. But Fetterman's the only one who's talking publicly. So the issue now becomes is that the Democrats are dying. Remember, he votes with them solidly all the time, but they are dying to primary him. So now you feel like you're doing right by your purple state. Remember, you're red and blue. Trump won Pennsylvania, but he's one of the senators from there. He feels like if he's talking about what should be common sense Democrat policy, that now is going to catch him in a primary situation where the Democrats can't have that. The cult cannot have you speaking that the cult leader doesn't have clothes on.
Dude, or even worse, they start shooting at him.
Listen, at this point, considering what has gone on there.
Would you be surprised? I would.
Josh Shapiro, and the reason why what Tug brings up does not sound ridiculous, obviously, given the scenario we're in. The left has now turned into a party where winning an election is not good enough, and it takes too long, and it's too hard. So what happens? A guy like Josh Shapiro, where a fanatic leftist who was pro-Palestine, let Gaza go, all that sort of stuff, firebombed his mansion. The governor's mansion. It wasn't a Republican. It wasn't some conservative. It wasn't some MAGA Trump person. It was somebody who said, Josh Shapiro's not left enough, and he's Jewish. I'm firebombing the governor's mansion.
So then take what Fetterman has said and the fact that he supports Israel the way he does so openly. Dude, it would not surprise. I mean, I certainly hope it doesn't happen. Of course, don't want that to ever happen to anybody. But he's got to be. I bet he's bumped up his security.
The first two that should be jumping ship should be Warnock and Ossoff, especially Ossoff, given how vulnerable the seat is, how Republican this state is, what is now going on. You can't play games like you did in 2020. Can't get in that way. Where both of them were able to be the beneficiaries of that. If there's two that need to be the first two that jump ship on this, it should be those two. But we'll see.
I don't expect, man.
I think Ossoff
maybe.
Yeah.
Warnock ain't a chance. I don't think he's got too much. He's got too far ahead of him. His
political battle is not coming yet.
Yeah, it's not. Ossoff would be the one. If anybody folds, it's him.
If that's the next one.
Yeah.
Or as we were told by Emmer, the weasel.
Well. Hard to argue that. Because I can't tell you one thing that he's done for the state of Georgia. He worked on some post office issues. I mean, the post office is a failing entity. Everybody knows it.
All right.
But I'm going to prop it up.
All right.
That's what you've done. That's, as a senator, you said, I'm going to fix the post office. Is the post office fixed?
No.
I don't think it is.
No.
Will it ever be fixed? Probably not.
No.
Not even probably. No, it won't. It won't. But that's his contribution so far. If you're asking me to rack my brain and figure out, because that's the only thing I can remember.
All right, so after him, there's four more. And that's from the reports that have been out there. And we have asked some of our contacts who say it's absolutely 100% correct. Off camera, off mic, there are Democrats that want to jump ship.
Yeah, they know.
But party leadership will burn them, and they know they have to wait at least a few more days.
And look at what's happening to Fetterman.
Yes.
They want to primary him.
Right. Ted Cruz, he predicted on Fox yesterday that they're going to open up the government by Wednesday or Thursday, if at the very worst the following week, because they want to use this to drive people to show up to the polls to vote for them when it comes to the left.
I hope it works as well as their No Kings protest.
I certainly hope so, too. I hope they lose New Jersey again.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I don't know what's going to happen in Virginia. The numbers are tight. It looks like you might have enough to get the Democrat in as the governor, but we shall see.
They had to bring Barack. They had to bring Obama in. That's how sure they are.
To tell you to vote for a white woman who formerly worked for the CIA, not the black woman.
Yeah. And NAACP backs The white lady, too. Abigail Spanberg.
You know, is there going to be a point, like I'm waiting for when Barack Obama becomes so toxic that he just goes away? Like, can't you live your life like George W. Bush? Because you can say whatever you want to about his presidency. You can say about the foreign wars he got us involved in. You can tell me about what you thought about the guy as a person. But he did what every other honorable president did, which is, I'm retiring out of politics. I'm going to go sit on my ranch or sit at my peanut farm in Georgia or wherever else, and I just stay out of this stuff.
Honorable. That's the key word.
Barack Obama
There's no honor.
is here to destroy, and that's why he's never left politics. That's why he stayed in it. I mean, we had to dust off Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton was like, I'll do an appearance, and that's it.
Here and there.
I'm not campaigning the entire time for you.
That's right. But they know that the race is so close in Virginia, they had to bring out Presbo. When we continue on Extra 106.3, handouts in SNAP are 65% higher than hardworking Americans can afford. Wowzers. Next on Extra 106.3.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Okay, let's talk about things you cannot do unless you show a picture ID. Get a drink. Buy tobacco products, vaping products. Open a bank account or a credit line. Apply for unemployment benefits, welfare, food stamps. Board an airline flight. Rent a house. Buy a house. Go get a hunting license or a fishing license. Purchasing a firearm. Apply for benefits like Social Security, food assistance, SNAP, Medicare. If you're stopped by the police, you have to show ID or they'll arrest you. Applying for a passport so you can travel internationally. All of these things and many, many more, you have to show proof of your identity. But with all of these things, there's one thing out there that Democrats will not tolerate. In the mind of the Democrat, you must not be required to show identification in order to register to vote. Not talking about actual voting, but registering to vote. There are lawsuits now in several states filed by Democrats challenging laws that people identify themselves before they can register to vote. Now, come on here. Why would Democrats be so upset at the idea that somebody ought to provide identification to register to vote? Simple, because they don't want any limitations on anybody voting. In fact, that 12-watt dim bulb, Kamala Harris, wants the voting age lowered to 16. Why no identification? Because the people that Democrats are going to rely on to get political power are not people who are going to readily have personal identification on them, especially if they happen to be in the country illegally. Think about it and then wonder why anybody would vote Democrat. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
A golf instructor who knows technique can improve an aspiring pro's swing. But one who really cares can help transform a career.
There he is, your new champion.
When you team up with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
This is Governor Brian Kemp. Georgians are used to affordable, reliable energy because of the good work of our Public Service Commission. And as your commissioner, Fitz Johnson secured a 3-year Georgia Power rate freeze and made sure our state's growth isn't hitting your wallet. Fitz is keeping rates down and money in your pocket and standing against Democrats who want hardworking Georgians to pay over $800 more per year. Keep Fitz Johnson in the fight by voting early or on Election Day, November the 4th.
Georgians First Leadership Committee paid for this ad.
that.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Fox News, President Obama flexing his muscle over the weekend, starring in both events in New Jersey and Virginia. Fox's Alexandria Hoff reporting from Richmond.
Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl-Sears, he still does have a climb ahead of her against former Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger. According to the latest Roanoke College poll, there's a 10-point difference there with a 4% margin of error. Now, Spanberger's also spending the final day of his campaign here in Richmond at a VCU student event. This weekend, though, at a rally in Norfolk, someone who's become a big name for this campaign made an appearance. Former President Obama, sure, but Democrat Attorney General candidate Jay Jones also took the stage. Of course, his text message scandal that fantasized about the political murder of an opponent has dominated much of the criticism for this campaign, but he spoke anyway.
The Democrats want to turn the governor's mansion blue after current Governor Glenn Youngkin defeated Terry McAuliffe by more than 63,000 votes in the last election. In New Jersey, Republicans want to prevent Democrats from retaining the state house for a third straight term, something that has not been done since 1961. Fox's Mark Meredith at Morristown in northern New Jersey.
Today is the final chance both the Democratic and Republican gubernatorial candidates have to make their pitch to voters. Early voting wrapped up, more than 1.1 million ballots already cast. But tomorrow being election day, this will be their chance to give their message out one last time. And the big issue on both sides appears to be the cost of living in New Jersey. The Democratic candidate, she has been out on the stump all weekend. Mikey Sherrill also campaigning with top Democratic leaders, including former President Obama. He rallied for her in Newark over the weekend. Polling shows Sherrill leading Republican Jack Ciattarelli by 7 points of likely voters. But remember, 4 years ago, this same man ran for the same job but only lost the race by roughly 3 points.
President Trump holding tele-rallies this evening in Virginia and New Jersey, trying to sway voters who have not cast their vote early to vote for Republicans running for governor in those states. America's listening to Fox News.
We all know the importance of good daily habits, whether it's getting your steps in, stretching those limbs, or eating right. Doing it on the regular is key. That's why if you're dealing with everyday aches and pain, it's time to bring Relief Factor into your routine. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a special formula of 4 natural ingredients. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. So call 1-800-4-RELIEF and try their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Simply call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, don't let it keep you from living the life you want. Make Relief Factor part of your daily routine. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
This is Tucker Carlson. You're listening to Atlanta's only conservative talk station, Extra 106.3, worldwide on the Extra app.
Oh my, it's Tug and Los until 10 on this Monday morning. It's supposed to be a beautiful day today. We don't do weather every 6 minutes because you can look at your phone and figure it out faster than I could.
I have thumbs, sir.
You have, yes, exactly right. You don't need me to tell you because it's right there on your phone. And you probably checked it before you left the house anyway to be prepared for the day.
All I ever need is the Family Guy weatherman who just says, it gonna rain. That's it.
Yeah, that's right.
What's gonna happen today? It gonna rain. If it's not gonna rain, I don't need that.
Yeah,
we're good.
You're fine. That's all I need.
That's it.
I can usually tell by the feeling inside the house whether it needs to be the heat on, the air on. You know, it's pretty instinctual, really, when it comes to weather.
When you walk around without a shirt off, so you're like, oh, yes. So your primary detectors know.
I could cut glass.
This feels like I need more heat in here.
That's right. Los, you said right before the end of that Fox News update, you were like, "Oh, I've seen it.
It's happened.
I just saw it. It's happened.
It's happened."
What was it that happened?
It was a rather significant sign of aging.
Oh.
I saw an ad with Tony Hawk.
Was it like Relief Factor or something?
Wasn't far off. It was for a CoQ10 supplement.
Okay.
To help your heart and your joints.
Yes, that's right.
He
used to be like the...
He's the man.
He is.
Like he's always lovable.
Yeah, no,
it's Tony
for sure.
Hawk.
But he was always like that, alternative sports.
Yeah.
What was X Games and all that
Guns
sort of
a-blazing, X Games. Cool. I mean, he's in Gleaming the Cube. And if you know Gleaming the Cube, you get a bucket of pride.
I don't know that one.
You don't know Gleaming the Cube?
I don't believe so.
Jure, I mean, you've got extensive movie knowledge.
No idea.
No idea. So this is a Christian Slater late 80s skateboard movie during the height of like skateboard stuff.
Oh, sidewalk surfing.
Skateboard man. And it's actually kind of interesting.
It's okay.
It's okay for an 80s like teenager movie trying to solve a crime. And at the end, there's Tony Hawk. He's the Pizza Hut driver. He's one of his friends who works for Pizza Hut. And so he's got a little cameo in there. He's got a couple of scenes where you see Tony Hawk. So Gleaming the Cube. I'm sure you can get it on YouTube for free at some point now. But just look into it.
He's 57. Dude, interesting. I don't know if it's because we're being listened to, but I just hit GLEA. Gleaming the Cube, Tony Hawk.
Gleaming the Cube.
I didn't even. I typed in 4 letters
because it's listening to you.
Yeah,
that microphone is active.
It has to be. But yes, wow. Okay, you can get it. Well, this is saying YouTube. Oh, Amazon Prime. Here it is.
What year does it say on there?
89.
Oh,
nailed it. Nailed it.
You're right. You know, another 10 or 15 years is going to be Tony Hawk for the pins.
Yes. Not too long, and he'll still be riding the skateboard.
Right. It'll be smaller.
A little bit of extra bubble on him.
The half pipe will be smaller, though.
Yeah.
It'll be like the one your daddy
back and
made
forth, a little back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a moment. I was like,
January 13th, 1989.
I still remember when he did the 900 for the first time in competition. It was just so cool.
There was a documentary. It was like only like maybe 20 or 30 minutes where it was a 30 for 30 on ESPN, and it showed what he was doing in order to pull that move off, where everyone's like, he is the first guy. And he wasn't young at that point either.
No.
He was just the guy that if he was going to do a 900, anybody was going to. It was going to be Tony Hawk.
Yeah. Did y'all ever watch like X Games and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
I like the snow one.
I never did.
Ooh, I loved. I didn't care about Summer X. Winter X I thought was really cool to look at.
I was big into it. It was big because I'm 10 years behind you guys, and I think that's when it really took over in the mid-'90s, kind of when I was very impressionable. And, I'm watching baseball, I'm watching football too, but the X Games was the peak of that 90s extreme edge.
I'm telling you, I loved all of, before we ever had a half pipe or anything else in Olympic competition, that's all I watched. I thought the guys that could do all the snowboard stuff, the slalom, the races, that stuff that's now all part of Olympic competition, has been for the better part of like 15, 16 years. That all started at Winter X Games in the 90s, and I would watch as much of it as I could.
I was in the middle of the ocean at that point, so I didn't have much of a opportunity to see a lot of X Games. Because you're talking about mid-'90s. Man, I joined the Navy late 95 and was in boot camp by December 95. So I missed a lot of that stuff, but it's crazy. I was trying to look it up. Soundtrack, X Games soundtrack, 1996. I had this because I just recognized, I was like, well, this music's great. And it was Higher Ground, the Chili Peppers.
Yep.
Jerry was a race car driver. Primus, Possum Kingdom, Toadies, Are You Going My Way, Fight for Your Right, Blind by Korn. I was like, this is a good CD, man. And it was all the X Games soundtrack. It was I'm sure the bumpers that they were using coming in and out of commercials.
So everyone knows the Flying Tomato, all right? Like that's been part of what the world of snowboarding looks like. I will tell you, if you want to see one of the most awful defeats in Olympic history, Lindsay Jacob Ellis. This woman was just dominating her sport. And she's way out in front. Like this, they always have to go through a number of heats, and now this is like the gold medal heat. And she throws her hands up. It's like she's got this one, and she falls.
Oh, no.
Right before the finish line. And so that's how far back I go with the sport, where I even remember going, oh, that's bad. But I always loved Winter X, and I always loved when that started getting incorporated into the Olympic Games, Winter Olympic Games.
I just love the big air competitions. You see like these humans literally flying 50, 60 feet up in the air, going
the motorbike stuff.
Yes,
okay,
Travis Pastrana is the Tony Hawk
of dirt bikes.
Yeah,
I always loved those. I was like, oh my, maybe because I fear heights. And I also fear the motorcycle, so that you would combine both of those with a giant dirt hill. I'm like, y'all are awesome.
Dude. I used to ride four-wheelers a lot. That, up in Northwest Georgia, there's plenty of time, plenty of places to do that. And I would go and ride. I would never do any of the things that those guys did. But, I mean, I saw dudes flipping, dirt bikes off of huge jumps, and you're thinking, how are these? And we're in the middle of nowhere. Like, if something were to happen, I just remember thinking to myself, how are we going to get them to safety?
They're doing triple backflips now.
Yeah, it wasn't any of that.
No.
But it would be, I saw dudes do flips on dirt bikes even way back then. And when I was in high school, dude, I wasn't brave enough to do any of that stuff. And it wasn't, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like every day or anything, but I just remember seeing some of those guys be out there and doing things that I was very reluctant to do myself. And thinking to myself, gosh, if they were to crash, we're a long way from anything. This is bad news. This is not going to turn out good. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. What are you watching over there?
I'm just seeing. This is the 2006 Winter Games when Lindsey Jacob Ellis falls on the last part of the course. And then, if you've seen enough snowboarding, now it's this problem trying to build up momentum again as the other, riders coming up on you. Then it's a very sad ending for, at the time, the most talented young woman who was snowboarding like that and doing, I guess this would be it's like their version of their own slalom.
Yeah. She's a pretty lady, too. I'm looking at a picture. They did an expose in the New York Times on her. And, at 40 years old, still getting after it, doing workouts.
There you go.
Yeah, lifting and squatting. She is a 5-time world champion, 10 times X Games champion.
She's great.
Yeah.
And so when she fell, that was like the first year they had it. It was like,
don't celebrate too soon.
Yeah. I mean, it was a tough one. It's a tough one, pal.
It's like the guy that is about to score the touchdown and drops the ball before they go into the end zone.
I've seen Chad Powers. Yes, sir.
That's who. Yeah.
I've seen that show.
Yeah.
If anybody else has finished it, my neighbor brought it up. He's like, have you seen Chad Powers? I'm like, yeah. He goes, how are they leaving us like that? I go, you thought it was a pretty good cliffhanger too, huh?
That's the end that you.
That's the end so far.
We won't spoil it for you if you're trying to watch it.
If you just want to put something on for like 30 minutes at a time and have a small laugh, or just kind of be into the whole fun of a dude who is trying to pretend he's somebody else and play football, it's fun.
Yeah, big times there. And 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. They are doing a full-on siding remodel using James Hardy siding. Get registered now on the Christmas giveaway tab at southernexteriors.co. Southernexteriors.co. Nominate yourself, nominate someone else, whomever you would like to. But someone will win this. We did this last year with a full roof remodel. Incredible moment. Might as well be you if you're in that need or you know someone who is. SNAP benefits. Los, I don't know if you've got your pencil and paper out or maybe a calculator, because the math is fuzzy.
The math gets crazy. I was seeing a video, and you got to take them with a grain of salt. Some of them I firmly believe, and other ones I'm like, it seems a little bit awkward.
Sure.
There was a woman who was complaining about losing her SNAP benefits. She was the epitome of what's wrong with the program. Single mom, 7 kids. And the amount of money that ends up running that she gets from EBT/SNAP, her number she was saying was $3,000. And I was like, first off, I don't believe you, but okay, that's what you're able to spend on food, groceries, all the stuff that you're doing. What I did from my quick investigation was find that when it came to a family of 4, so emulates mine, that if we were ever on EBT SNAP benefits, the most they would get in the 48 contiguous states.
Contiguous states, yeah.
That's the way it goes with it. It's like there's difference in Hawaii, there's difference in Alaska. But if you're in the lower 48, the max you're getting is $994. And I compared that to what our spending is on groceries on a regular basis. And the numbers start coming out to, on certain months, that might be 45% more. Now, keep in mind, my kids eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. That's what they're into. And it ain't that hard to go buy a thing of grapes. Right? It's not going to set you back. We bought carrots yesterday because my daughter wanted to make a carrot meal. And she's like, well, there's like 3 or 4 extra carrots. I'm like, we'll eat them. They're carrots. When you look at what happens when they call it the $1,000 cart, Like, what is a $1,000 cart? What happens is at these retail establishments, when they get these people who receive SNAP/EBT benefits, they immediately go and use it to stock up. So for a family of 4, that's $994 at the max. That's the $1,000 cart. So I'm, let's say, at the same store, and I'm trying to walk out of there with a handful of items, and on an expensive day, I might be like, okay, it's going to cost like $180, $200. But now we're good for a few weeks.
That's usually where we sit.
Yeah, that's for a number of, okay, we're good for like 2 weeks. We'll come back in a couple of weeks. That person's loading up $1,000 worth. And they'll do the same thing next month and next month. At the very minimum, I was calculating it up. Those people are getting more benefits from the government when it comes to our tax dollars. They're spending 30% more on groceries than I get close to on a regular basis.
And you wonder why prices are the way they are, because supply and demand kicks in. I mean, you used the example of Fruit Loops earlier. If you got a $1,000 cart, how many boxes of Fruit Loops are you putting in there?
How much did you load up?
And once they disappear from the shelves, the price is not going down because of the demand. The price is going up. So your family, if you were to buy Fruit Loops, which we don't, but for the example, you ain't getting them. Or if you do, the price is not going to be beneficial to you. You're not going to see food prices fall because the supply is not there and the demand is out of this world, especially with $1,000 carts. Goodness gracious. It's terrible to think that you working the way you do every day, and me and you listening right now, and we're not doing a bit of good for ourselves with the money that's taken from us.
And SNAP and EBT, when you go through the calculation of what your net income is supposed to be, your net income is your gross minus deductions, and then how it's calculated out from there. Just like anything else, the less money you're making, in a lot of cases, the prime number should be 0. If you have 0, then you're getting the most in benefits, because every dollar you make when it comes to your SNAP calculation is going to drop the amount of SNAP/EBT benefits you're getting. So you might have it taken out under one person who's making 0 money, and then there's somebody else who actually is working in the house. You know, this is where the fraud and the silliness comes in. And I didn't believe in it when you would hear people talk about these people show up with nice cars, nice phones, here's all the stuff they're getting, and maybe just because it's not in front of me on a regular basis. You know, I don't think I've maybe seen like 1 or 2 people ever use an EBT card on something.
Well, because now there's a lot of credit cards, you wouldn't know it.
You wouldn't know it. And so a lot of this comes back to people have been gaming this system for a long time. And now that we actually have an administration that's saying, hey, we got to look into this stuff. Like, this is pretty important. That's now where the fight is. And the fact that you won't be getting the benefits until the government's back open.
Well, but it's a shame that someone with a job is punished because they're trying. You know what I mean? They don't get as much as someone that gets 0 and has 0 in attempt to try.
I've never walked out of a grocery store in the entirety of my life, or at least in my adult life, or I'll even say in the last 15 years since having kids, where we have $1,000 grocery bill.
Ever. I've never experienced either. Ever.
I mean, if we head over to Costco, and a Costco run is like a big run, like, wow, that was $300.
That's exactly right. I was going to say the same number.
And you know what? That's for the entirety of the month into the following month.
Because how many paper towels are you going through? You get 6,000. Yeah. You know, you get
it's like if I spend $300, I don't need to see Costco again for another month.
That's it. If maybe even longer, to be honest.
And so to think that you have some of these people that are gaming the system and are buying up as much as they are, go online, go on to X and look into the $1,000 cart and how many people will point out, look at the shelves, man, they're gone. It's like, well,
now it all adds up.
The EBT came through.
Now it all makes sense.
All makes sense suddenly.
Goodness. And it's all.
And for anyone who asks, like, wow, it's still busy shopping in your particular area, that means there isn't a whole lot of EBT recipients that are going right now. Certain areas of town, I'm sure that it's completely different.
100%.
And by the way, it's a difference in a lot of times they're daytime shoppers.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because in order to show 0 income and have the most, you don't have a job.
You don't have a job. That's what I said. People that don't have a job, that don't try, actually benefit more than anybody that does. And it's all on your back. It's all on your shoulders. When we continue, Hakeem Jeffries knows the future of the Democrat Party is communism. But he wants you to believe something completely different. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
If you listen to Extra, share it with a friend. It's how we grow and how we can reach everyone in the Atlanta community that believes in the American way of life. If you value the station, help us grow by telling someone about the Extra 106.3 app.
Good morning, it's Los. Let's talk about True Prep. First off, 1000 Cobb Parkway in Marietta. And always go to trueprep.com. You can check out their specials. Now, right now, they have some awesome in-store specials. You got to get on this. First off, they have the Glock 19 Gen 4 and the Glock 19X. Both are in stock today, but it's while supplies last. That's why you want to be able to check online and then get in-store for those in-store specials. In addition, they have great deals on 15 and 33-round Glock 9mm magazines through November 12th. So just until a little bit into next week, you got to get there. Other deals include the Radical Firearms AR-15 for only $399.99 and some of the lowest prices on 9mm and 223 ammo you will find in Atlanta. Check them out again in store at True Prep on Cobb Parkway in Marietta, or check out the full list of these items and other deals. You can do that online at trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. So if your old windows have you boiling in the summer and freezing in the winter, you need the pros at Window Nation with installation precision and experience that are second to none. Their custom windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit, and they're backed by the best warranty in the industry. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION for your free estimate. And for a limited time, get 50% off all window styles, plus pay no interest for 5 years.
Thousands of veterans across Georgia are missing out on the benefits they've earned through their service. The Warrior Alliance is changing that by connecting veterans and their families to life-changing resources and support. Tune into the Warrior Alliance Network, our podcast and radio show dedicated to helping veterans succeed after service. Join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. on Talk Radio 106.3 to hear inspiring veteran stories, discover free programs, and learn about career opportunities available to you. Subscribe to the Warrior Alliance YouTube channel today.
Okay, who just opened your Obamacare or Marketplace renewal and almost fell off that chair? Hey, 35%, and it's not even any better? You're not crazy. They keep jacking the premium and giving you less. I don't know about this stuff, but I know who does. I go to Steven, the health insurance doctor. I send people there because he's been doing this 16 years. He wins awards for this stuff. He helps the self-employed, 1099, small business owners, the people actually paying for their own insurance. You bet you're going to get corporate-style coverage, nationwide PPO. How about lower zero deductibles, plans that pay you cash benefits when you use them? And he does it all around the year round there because, you know what, he's independent. He's got multiple carriers to quote. A lot of you are going to see that premium go right down instead of up. And in some cases, saving to 60% over that renewal number. He works for you, not Washington. Here's the number, 678-523-0759. 678-523-0759. Or go to healthinsurancedoctor.net. It's Steven, not a call center. Your plan, your savings, and tell him the Kibber sent you.
The older I get, the more I think about trust. I think about the people in my life who have my trust and earned my trust, and the trust that I have placed in some people who I later learned abused that trust. I know we're alike in that way. We don't trust a lot of people anymore. It's like we're all Ronald Reagan, trust but always verify to make sure we're not making a mistake. I find it a little exhausting, quite honestly, and that's why I started realestateagentsitrust.com. I didn't have good experiences with buying and selling my homes. So we built Real Estate Agents I Trust to introduce you to one of the thousands of agents all over the country that we work with, that we have verified that they will help you have the most successful and good real estate transaction possible. Our network agents share our sensibilities, have great track records, are good and decent people, and I trust them to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're moving across town or across the country, visit realestateagentsitrust.com. The name says it all, realestateagentsitrust.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Monday, November 3rd. 3 suspects were arrested as part of a drug trafficking investigation linked to a major Mexican cartel. The GBI says they executed 5 search warrants last week in Atlanta, Sandy Springs, and Woodstock. Authorities seized more than 500 pounds of marijuana, along with 9 firearms in the operation. All 3 men arrested are charged with racketeering and conspiracy to violate Georgia's Controlled Substances Act. The Atlanta DreamHack Gaming Festival had to hit pause over the weekend. A suspicious package prompted evacuations early Sunday morning. The GBI bomb squad cleared the item after a K-9 unit alerted on the package. The festival resumed after the all-clear was given. And a Cobb County nonprofit Community Family Resources launched its 2025 Thanks for Giving program on November 1st to feed 1,000 families during the week of Thanksgiving. The drive seeks donations across the county and highlights a community-wide effort to address hunger ahead of the holidays and during the government shutdown. Today's weather partly cloudy with highs in the mid-60s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. 8779 Southern, southernexteriors.co, southernexteriors.co. Make sure you go register someone before December 1st. That's the cutoff. You, a family member, a friend, someone you go to church with, for the free James Hardy siding remodel from Southern Exteriors. This thing could be up to $30,000, depending on the size of your home. But we did this last year with Southern, and we did a roof replacement, and it was unbelievable. Now they're repeating it. They're doing another incredible job, and you can nominate someone. SouthernExteriors.co, top left corner of the website says Christmas giveaway. Nominate someone there, but you must do it before December 1st. December 1st is the cutoff. So a little less than a month to get that done. SouthernExteriors.co.
It's a cool thing to win.
No, man.
Somebody going to win it.
Absolutely. Might as well be you.
Might as well be you.
Or someone you know, somebody you love, somebody you go to church with, somebody that could really use this. And I'm telling you, the tears that were cried, boy, had me with a lump in my throat when I was able to call the people and let them know that they had won and that their roof was going to be replaced free of charge. It was so sweet.
You were like a highly sexualized version of Ed McMahon.
Yes, very much so.
Publishers Clearinghouse, but you did a little differently.
That's right, absolutely.
Like, I have a roof for you.
Yeah, what do you think? I didn't bring a big check. I just called you and said, we got a big roof. We're going to put it on your house. Absolutely free.
I hope from now on you record these.
Why is that?
They just become part of the spot.
Oh, yeah.
So when Edna, you tell her, hey, we got a roof for you, and Edna's like, okay.
All right, then. I love it. I'll take it. No, it is. It is a.
Why are you messing with me, Tug?
Yeah. Why are you lying?
Why are you lying, Tug?
I'm tired of you lying all the time. Getting on the radio, lying about things. No lies, man. It's the truth. SouthernExteriors.co. Hakeem Jeffries. Now, I think he may be lying. This dude was haughty enough. Is that the right word? I don't know. He was brave enough, bold enough. Probably the better way of doing it. He went on television and said, no. The Democrat Party is not, handcuffed to Mamdani. He's not the future of the party.
For mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani, do you see Mamdani as the future of the Democratic Party?
No, I think the future of the Democratic Party is going to fall, as far as we're concerned, relative to the House Democratic Caucus and members who are doing a great work all across the country as it relates to our need to both take back control of the House, but in doing so, make sure that we're communicating to the American people we understand you deserve better.
Mm-hmm. You deserve better. And he's telling you that the one person in the party that has all the momentum, that has people talking from coast to coast, people that don't live in New York, ain't going to live in New York, but they all know who Zohran Mamdani is. They know who he is because he's the only one moving the needle. I don't know what the polling numbers look like for Hakeem Jeffries. I imagine they're low, really low. And I know the polling numbers of him. He's about to win the mayoralship of the biggest city in the United States of America and maybe the biggest economy outside of America.
I love this because it's a test case that history, while it might not repeat itself, it does rhyme, as the saying goes.
Always, yeah.
Because there's always another communist, there's always another socialist, and typically this happens in third world countries. They promise you the world, They tell you they're going to fix your problems. You're a victim. I'm going to fix it. And then everything goes to hell in a handbasket. Now, our side recognizes that this man, it was Angel Face had brought this up. She pointed up that Anna Paulina Luna, that this guy's a grifter. It's like he's the ultimate grifter. It's like, well, why do you say that? It's
He's
like,
got a nice smile, though.
He's going to say whatever his backers tell him to say. Like, that's what he's going to do. I was listening to Elon Musk talk about how, like, this guy's a big phony. It's like he's going to tell you whatever he needs to in order to secure power, which that's pretty much what communists do.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
To echo your point and to really solidify the point that you're making, Kathy Hochul, the governor, who endorsed this guy, said, no, we're not going to raise taxes to cover all the things. No, you can't afford to do all the things that he wants to do. But yay, Mamdani. She's saying all the things that he tells you, you can't take them to the bank because we can't afford it.
In my opinion, she treated him a little bit like a child. Now, do you have power as the mayor of New York? Absolutely, 100%. But she basically put it out there to everyone who conducts business in the New York City area. It's okay. We're not going to raise your taxes. And he can't either. And so that's what she was pointing out. It's like, as many things as he wants soda in all the water fountains and pizza every day and no homework on Fridays. That's what Mamdani wants. And that has the children very excited. But how much can actually be done? Kathy Hochul is basically telling you, I'm the backstop. The child stuff ain't happening.
Right. All while endorsing him. That's the craziness of it all.
Well, it's a threat. She can't go against what is now outside of AOC, and it's funny how they all come from the same bastion of this logic. You can't go against the charging rhino here, right? I mean, he is the power of the Democrat Party right now. He's the one that they're pointing to and being like, we got to get him in. You know? I mean, it's one thing if you want to knock on the Chuck Schumers of the world, the Hakeem Jeffries, you know, the old people, the Nancy Pelosi's of the party. They're busy looking for young people that can lead this thing, and she can't go against it.
But have the courage of your convictions. Say
what convictions? It's just power.
Right. Of course. But at least when you say he's not going to be able to do any of these things, and I'm not raising the taxes to get them done, but then to speak out the other side of you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
He is the person who was selected. He won the Democrat primary.
And he's going
to be the duly elected Democrat mayor of New York. What is she going to say? Outside of, I endorse him, but all these things he wants to do, we're not going to attack the rich.
Those things make no sense, though. That's the point. She's going out saying he can't do any of these things, but I endorse him to do these things. It makes no sense. And anybody that looks at that and believes any of them, her or him, is a fool.
Well, very simply, Mamdani can get her out of office.
Yeah, well.
At this point.
Yeah, probably so.
If he is the mayor of New York, he can probably get her out of office.
Or at least have a good shot at it.
So why the endorsement? Because he can get me out of office.
Yeah, trying to.
But then let's also point to the business community. If 1% of New York is already paying more than 50% of the taxes, you're not. What are you going to do? Hit them harder?
Yeah.
Like, I remember the old stories, Tug. I don't know if you remember the stories that Rush Limbaugh would talk about how he used to have that residence in New York City. And then when he left for Florida and he got out and he sold it, he said New York was basically trying to track him down anytime when they heard him do a radio show and they thought he was working out of the offices in New York.
Yep. They would try to tax him for his time that day.
And he's like, I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
It's going through the transmit. And they would be like, well, you're broadcasting from New York. It's like, but I'm not in New York.
Yeah.
But that's how crazy they were about getting at your money.
Yeah, so desperate. Mamdani, has convinced people that those people that pay all those taxes are going to stay. Well, we're going to improve their quality of life. That's what he said. We're going to improve their quality of life. We're going to raise their taxes incredibly. But we're going to improve their quality of life by taking away the police, letting crime run. What part of that is improving anybody's life? It is all calculated, callous, and BS, just like Elon said.
I would just like to ask the question, if you were part of that 1% or even the 10% in New York, hopefully comfortable living, The only things you really care about is make sure you don't mess with my money, make sure that I'm safe, and to hell with public transit. You're not taking it. You know, if you're amongst the 1% in New York, you're not on the subway.
Yeah.
All right? It's like you are transported around New York. Like even a guy was it? I'm trying to remember the name of the guy who was doing radio there for the longest time. Okay, so Mike, it was from Mike and the Mad Dog. But anyway, so Mike Francesa, he had a driver. He had a driver who would bring him to the radio station. Now, is he part of the 1%? No, but he's probably in the top 3 or 4%.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
He had a driver.
Yeah.
All right, so you're telling me that we're going to improve your life. How?
Not a chance of it.
Not a chance of it.
You're going to make my life tougher, more difficult. It's going to cost me more.
I'm going to leave.
I'm getting out of here. But as long as Mom Donnie says it, the just androids believe it. Whatever he says, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, you notice that with the people that choose to point this stuff out and who claim that they voted for him or claim they voted for him a multitude of times, it's all young people and very liberal.
Little life experience. The only thing they've been told is that this guy's going to make it easier. I'm going to be able to afford a house.
He's going
to be great.
He's going to get even with these people. In fact, he won't even talk about the house. He's talking about rent control.
Yes, right. Exactly.
Which has never been...
Never works anywhere.
I will tell you from somebody who has owned rental property, if you ever put rent control on me, this is universal. That means I suddenly now have this amount of the pie. And that pie is supposed to grow on a somewhat regular basis. Now, why is that? Because the property needs improvement, needs upkeep. It's what you have to do. And so the problem ends up being if you have frozen it, the upkeep doesn't happen. The little extras don't happen.
Because you can't afford to.
And so suddenly, before you know it, because people who rent live hard, all right?
Yes, they do.
They don't take care of it the same way you do. It's not theirs. What you then find is that property becomes dilapidated over a number of years. And so now I'm offering you this property, which sounds great, and it's rent controlled. When you get in it, you find out why.
Why do you think they charge you a deposit when you go and rent an apartment? Because they know they're going to need to repaint.
We have to paint. We have to touch up.
Might need to patch a hole in the wall.
We might have to change some appliances out.
That's exactly.
That is.
Well, and sometimes it's just use of said appliance.
Sometimes just age.
But it still needs to be replaced.
I mean, I still remember having to replace a water heater.
Yeah.
I was like, what's that going to cost? And she's like, $770. I was like,
on the cheap.
Okay.
But that's
part of it.
Absolutely right. And when you can't reflect that in the rent, what benefit is there?
Right.
So you just sell it off and you get out. And that's what's going to happen. Now, old Barack Obama, when he gets out, he says it's conservatives that blame minorities for every problem under the sun, Los. That's what he said when he was out campaigning for Abigail Spanberger.
I thought the dividing line was 2012, but I thought it was 2012 because we had the rise of social media. And so people kind of drew battle lines. Now, was this as extreme? I don't recall. Like 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, I don't recall social media being an environment where clearly this is one side, clearly this is another. I don't believe that really came until COVID. Now, did we see some of that in 2016 with President Trump?
Yeah.
Some of it,
and then the silencing.
But you saw the really hardcore lines drawn in 2020. But I went back to this, and this was a Gallup poll that was posted just as a reminder. So Gallup had asked the question. It was this. We'd like to know how you would rate relations between various groups in the United States these days. Would you say the relations between white and black people are very good, somewhat bad, or very bad? Again, that's a typical poll question, right? Typical poll question. Rate it, give us a number. Here's what you think. When you look at what happened in terms of race relations, you had white Americans that in the first portion of the Barack Obama administration, the first 4 years, where it was, hey, we elected a black president. Seems like a nice guy. He picks games on ESPN. Yeah, we've got problems with a housing crisis. Yeah, we have 10% unemployment. But We are happy.
Because we've done the right thing.
White people had that number at about 71%. What then occurs is, and this is noted in the report, Barack Obama takes a side in the Trayvon Martin case. At that point, remember, now we have a white Hispanic.
Yes. Yeah.
And we have all the craziness that went on with that. And then before you know it, you end up with, hands up, don't shoot, and all the other stuff that was complete BS. All of it. What occurs? White Americans looked at race relations at 71% favorable. It drops to 45%. What happened with black Americans? Black Americans had it at 65%. They drop to 45%. And it dropped that entire time during that process. You want to talk about what the great divide was that Barack Obama was so successful at? It was managing to take probably the most uniform time in American history in terms of race relations into the late 90s, into the early aughts, where we're at war and we don't have time for that silliness. And as soon as we got to a level of comfort, the communists went to work.
That's why Rush Limbaugh called him the divider-in-chief.
The divider-in-chief.
And there couldn't have been a better description. That's exactly what he was. And that graph lays it out so plainly. The numbers tell you everything that you need to know. It's sad. I hate that. It's the worst. I mean, that's probably the worst thing that could have happened to America right there.
By the way, you've had the biggest bounce back since 2021 is this year.
Imagine that. Because everybody benefits. And that's the goal of Donald Trump, is to have everybody benefit. And if you'll get out of his way, it will. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. When we come back, Joe Scarborough may have saved MSNBC from another Donald Trump defamation lawsuit. Next on the Morning Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Monday, November 3rd. The Atlanta Falcons are now 3-5 on the season after a 24-23 loss in Foxborough to the New England Patriots. Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. threw 3 touchdown passes, all to receiver Drake London, but a missed extra point in the fourth quarter was the difference in the ball game. The Falcons will play the 7-2 Indianapolis Colts next Sunday. Week 9 in the NFL comes to a close tonight when the Dallas Cowboys host the Arizona Cardinals for Monday Night Football. The Cowboys are a small 3.5-point favorite for this game. Kickoff is set for 8:15. And the Trae Young-less Hawks dropped to 3-4 on the season after a 117-109 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road last night. The Hawks are off tonight before hosting the Orlando Magic on Tuesday. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
The nominations keep rolling in, and you can nominate too. southernexteriors.co, top left, Christmas Give Back. That's where you can nominate you, a friend, a family member who is in dire need of repair for their home, especially the siding. This is a James Hardy siding promotion, giving away a full remodel to someone's home. James Hardy Siding, the best in the business. Working with the best in the business at Southern Exteriors. Been at this since 1999, covering Atlanta, all of Metro Atlanta, out of Jackson, Georgia. But they do this as part of their give back. This is something that they want to do because they've been successful this year and they want to make someone's Christmas just a little better. And I say just a little better, a whole lot better. To get a full remodel done absolutely free just by going to southernexteriors.co and clicking on the Christmas Give Back link, filling out the application. Tell us why the person that you're nominating could really use a full remodel of James Hardy Siding on their home, and maybe they get selected. It is a very, very sweet contest. I say contest, a giveaway. Contest, giveaway, however you want to describe it. But I just know last year when we did the full-on roof, the tears were just everywhere. So many people listened to it with a lump in their throat. It was so sweet and so special. We want to recreate it again this year in a different part of the home, though, with the James Hardy Siding. If you want to nominate somebody, get it done before December 1st by going to southernexteriors.co, southernexteriors.co. click on the Christmas Give Back, top left of the website.
Of all the radio ads I've ever done, I only advertised one thing that I think saved my life. My CPAP machine, sleep apnea. And I found the best CPAP dealer out there ever, Roddy, at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. CPAPsETC.com. Everything you need, all the supplies, shipped anywhere at a price that often beats insurance. CPAPsETC.com. Go take a peek now.
Go beyond just a baseball game with your Atlanta Braves and check out Truist Park's Ballpark Tour. See the ballpark like never before and explore the franchise's rich history with artifacts, exhibits, and more, led by tour guides who will take you to places behind the scenes that most fans have never seen before, including the press box, premium club spaces, and of course, step onto the field where your favorite Braves players battle it out during the season. And each tour comes with a complimentary player chain necklace. Visit Braves.com/tours to purchase your tickets today. And did you know Truist Park can host your next event? As a year-round facility, we host private events ranging from corporate meetings, trade shows, team building events, holiday parties, rehearsal dinners, you name it, Truist Park can host it. Visit Braves.com/events to get started on creating an experience like never before with one of Truist Park's unique venues. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves country.
I've worn the uniform. I have stood beneath our flag, and I have fought for what it stands for. I'm Megan Terry, and I serve in the U.S. Army. At Collins Flags, that feeling of pride goes into every single stitch because they're made right here in the USA by folks just like me. This Veterans Day, show your love for the men and women who serve. Fly a Collins, American, or military flag with honor. Buy yours at collinsflags.com today. That's collinsflags.com. American made, proudly waved.
Hey, this is John Flading. I'm the president and owner of ATL Turf Co. We have become a highly sought-after turf installation company in the Atlanta and North Georgia luxury residential market. The big reason for that is our installers are ATL Turf Co. employees. We do not outsource labor. They are trained to be experts in the turf installation process, drainage, grading. Just go to atlturfco.com to schedule an appointment.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The Fan and Extra 106.3 are proud to salute all those who've served our great nation at our 2025 Veterans Day Golf Classic. Friday, November 7th at Heritage Golf Links. Join all your favorite Fan and Extra personalities for a day of golf, prizes, and fun, all benefiting our friends at the Warrior Alliance. Special thanks to the Atlanta Braves, Corona Southern Exteriors, Akins Ford, Georgia Sports Autographs, Harrah's Cherokee Casino and Resorts, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Freebird Southern Spring Water, Henri's Bakery, and The Collar Spot.
I don't know what it is, Los, about Livs. They feel like they can get on TV, radio, and they just say anything they want. There's nobody going to be there to dispute. There's nobody going to be there to be like, hey, man, you can't say that. You know, I mean, think about what Jimmy Kimmel did. It got him suspended. They brought him back, but let me tell you, his numbers, his ratings, his audience is shrinking continually.
They crushed again.
After January, that show will go away. There's no way they're paying that dude for what he's providing.
When Colbert was losing $40 million annually, that one's going away.
That's exactly right. And then you have the times where ABC News, George Stephanopoulos will say something, and Donald Trump will be like, in the mail, here's a letter from my lawyer. We're suing you.
Yes,
and we won.
They called him a rapist.
Yeah,
that was when who was it that was on? South Carolina representative.
Lindsey Graham?
No.
Oh.
Nancy Mace.
Oh, Nancy Mace. I'm sorry.
Nancy Mace was there, and she was the one who called it out. She's like, hold on, I've been a victim of this.
That's right.
That's not the case. And he tried to write it, and I think it was a $9 million check. We then had the CBS who got sued by the Trump administration or the Trump campaign at the time because they edited the video of Kamala Harris to make her look more competent than she was. It's like, okay, this looks like what you're doing. And again, they had to write a check. So everyone knows to watch out for this. Even The View, remember when they were having to fact check in real time because the lawyers...
They were issuing apologies right after the next segment.
In live television, they were issuing apologies for what they had said off the cuff. If it was factually wrong, if it was incorrect, that's what was going on. Well, Morning Joe, late Friday, in fact, right when we were getting off the air, you had Seth Moulton, and he's a representative from Massachusetts. Seth decided he was going to go on to Morning Joe and light the thing on fire. I'm going to tell everybody about Donald Trump and how bad of a person he is. And I just want you to listen as Joe Scarborough basically turns into the, I'm not getting sued over this. Right. I am making sure that I'm not getting sued over this. And if there's ever a point where Donald Trump decides to send over a lawsuit, Joe Scarborough will not be part of it.
To freedom with Trump. If you are one of the people like him who took advantage of young girls with Jeffrey Epstein, then we're going to sort of make that go away. I mean, fundamentally, Speaker Johnson...
We don't have evidence that he took advantage of young girls with Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. Just common sense be damned.
I'm not saying common sense be damned. I'm saying facts. Let's look at the facts. I mean, is he in the Epstein files?
He's obviously in the Epstein files, and the reason that fundamentally Speaker Johnson has us on vacation is because he does not want to seat the newly elected Democratic representative.
Right, but you said he
Arizona.
took advantage of young girls. You have absolutely no evidence of that.
I think it's pretty obvious that that's what's going on.
You think it's pretty obvious?
I do.
That's Joe Scarborough going, like, you are not getting me sued. Not on my show, not here. And you hear that joker, well, I think it's pretty obvious. Pretty obvious ain't proof.
Yeah. Show me the evidence. And isn't it crazy that Joe Scarborough has to be the voice of reason on MSNBC?
Flat out tell you, there is no evidence of that. There is no information on that. The joke being, if it was such a bomb, then why did they never use that against Donald Trump in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2023? Yes.
Today.
Never. They never did. Why? Because it ain't in there. I mean, we already had the attorneys that represent an attorney that represented the women in that who said Donald Trump was the only one who cooperated with us in terms of gave us a phone call, talked to us, let us know about what was going on. Decidedly said he is not in this. Not in the way that they're hoping he is.
Only one to give us time said, I'll give you as much time as you need. Not 5 minutes, not 2 hours. As much time as you need.
Alan Dershowitz, who ended up representing Epstein, flat out is like, yeah, he's not part of that. All right, so if the attorneys are saying this, you think there's some magic bullet? The fact that Seth Moulton thought it'd be so... I'm going to point this out right here on MSNBC.
Look at me. I'm going to wear the shield of the Democrats.
And Joe Scarborough's like, sue him.
Yeah,
sue
not me
anything
or
you
us.
want for defamation. I didn't have anything to do with it. In fact,
I accept the record straight, as a matter of fact.
In fact, I would say that the fastest thing we can do is get him off our airwaves.
And not invite him back.
Because at one point, you had Democrats, you had liberals who felt so comfortable with throwing out the most outlandish things. And at the time, it was considered, well, I just don't draw attention to it. Like George Bush looked at it as, well, we just don't bring attention to it. No, the new right goes, that's a lie, I'm suing you,
and wins.
Now when we get in court, think about this. Donald Trump is at the point where he's like, yeah, I'll sue you. Then let's have discovery. That's what happened with, what was it, the Wall Street Journal with the here's his letter that he wrote for Epstein's birthday.
That's right.
And Wall Street Journal said, let's settle this out of court. Donald Trump said, hell no. In fact, let's go to discovery and let's find out where you got all this. Let's push this as far as we're going to go. It is a warning sign to the rest of the media that the days of, we just sit back and take it, just get slapped across the face and go, okay, sorry we did that. Please don't report on us badly anymore. Those days are over.
Seth Moulton has not gotten the memo. He did not. He has not figured it out.
Apparently lives in the bubble.
He's living in the bubble of, these people will protect me. I am good to go.
I don't have to worry about it.
Anything I want to, just like I've always been able to do. Buddy, you better start pulling up the emergency brake quick, because Joe Scarborough, a harsh critic of Donald Trump,
had to help you.
Had to get you out of having your tail end suit off And then the network, he was like, I'm defending the network. And by that, I'm actually defending you because you're such an idiot that you're going to come on here and say this.
I'd be willing to bet that we will not see Seth Moulton on that network.
I wonder what the conversation after that segment.
Again.
Well, that too. Wonder what the conversation after the segment was like. Joe was like, are you kidding me, dude? What are you doing?
Are you trying to get us sued?
What are you doing? You cannot be this foolish. There's not a chance that you've not seen ABC and CBS lose in court already. And Joe's like, I'm not letting it happen here. We're going to change the name of this network. We can't get off on the wrong foot now. We can't take this lawsuit dragging into the rebrand of this network.
We're trying to rebrand and we're trying to sell at the same time. We can't have 10 million, 20 million, 30 million hanging over our head here.
Shut your mouth, Seth. Shut your mouth. That's exactly
that'll
what
be
he
the
did.
end. That'll be the end of Seth Moulton on MSNBC.
And what other network's going to be like, oh, yeah, let's have him on?
Let's go have him. It'll be great. It's a great idea.
Nobody's saying that. CNN's not saying that. ABC's not saying it.
And the silly lefty who's not thinking about it, they're thinking like, he's a great flamethrower. They should bring him on. I'm like, that's not what the network's thinking.
Go on some podcast that nobody watches. You can probably say it there because nobody will hear it. This will get picked up. This will be shared. And Donald Trump, just like when sometimes, or in the example for Scott Adams, he's like, I need some help. President says, I'm on it. All they would have to do is share this on social one time. Donald Trump, did you see this? I'm on it. That's what would happen again. That'll do it for us. We're going to turn this thing over to Beck. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about America. I hope you'll share the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3 with a friend, with a coworker, somebody that'll get something out of this show and help us grow. And you have a conservative voice in Atlanta. For Los and Jeray, I'm Tug. Y'all come back now. You hear?
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kimmer Show, only on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.